All right, folks. After that, we are back. We did have a brief little interruption there, but we'll be right back with William and Mary in Fairfield. And it looks like William and Mary able to get it delivered all 3 points.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know if I want to say that we didn't miss anything or we missed a lot. Because they did get those 3 points. There's 3 minutes 54 remaining for Willing and Mary. So that means they had a pretty good attack. And now Fairfield, they have the same challenge. They want to get to those 3 points, maybe even have a little bit more time. But 3:54, that's really good.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a tough time to keep pace with if you're on the side of Fairfield. I look forward to seeing how they're going to do it.
The composition as well that we saw from the engagement of William and Mary was really effective. They were able to push everyone off the high ground from the side of Fairfield, and with that, they just have the momentum going. It seems like towards until the end. Fairfield University now. We might be seeing a Saria Winston. I hope we do. I do like this composition a lot.
We'll see if it works out a little bit better for Fairfield as they are a few seconds from the gate dropping. As it does go down, looks like they are going to be rolling out with it. Great aspects on that. And third time is the charm, folks. We are back once again. Looks like we have missed not much progress on A as William and Mary continuing to hold here on this defense. Fairfield still up, still choosing to run that sim. We were talking a little bit about that beforehand, Dryad, before the cutouts. But now, as we look, looks like they're just getting a little bit slow and methodical going into this next push.
Yeah, it seems like you said, we're back now. The defense still trying to hold, still holding it pretty well. The engagement from Fairfield, maybe they lost a little bit of that momentum with that, and they had the opportunity to bring it back. That primary race is about to be ready from the side of Wrench. They can initiate with this and with the amplification matrix, so really good opportunities for them to control the point.
They need to be very careful here, Fairfield, as they do have that Reaper creeping up above them. Unique might be setting up for another very big Death Blossom. As we see the amplification field come out, Lucio gets taken down early on for the side of William and Mary. That is great. No sound barrier available, but the Death Blossom comes and takes down two. Little bit of an disimprovement from Unique, but two will certainly still get the job done.
Once again, the Death Blossom coming through. Unique coming through. Willing and Mary will be holding this point, and it was only that Death Blossom what seemed to be enough for them to hold it. That EMP is about to be ready. The Coalescence as well. Fairfield University, they don't have any ultimates that can be effective. I did mention the primary rage as well, but it's going to also require the engagement of the rest of the team for it to be effective. And if the EMP comes through and hacks the Winton, then there's nothing they can do.
The biggest asset that Primal Rage will have is just the dislocation of the opposing team, but you can only take advantage of that if your team is ready to respond. But it looks like Fairfield lining up on this high ground on Flight of the Duskwood to really get pushing here. Farah taking to the sky, shots raining in. The hack does go out. Big EMPs coming in, allow William and Mary to really capitalize on the rest of this team. Great aspects can't get away. You get hacked onto the ground, chased down, eventually takes a drink.
Okay. Yeah, the fire gets taken down, and now there's only less than 30 seconds remaining for Fairfield University. They have to engage now. They have a couple ultimates though, so it can be effective. The Gravity Surge, if it connects well, then really good initiation for the rest of the teams to play aggressive with the Coalescence. But like I said, they don't have a lot of time. They can get taken down early, or really Mary, they will keep having this momentum.
We're going to see how proactive William and Mary are with these ultimates. It looks like they're going to wait a little bit before they invest them. The grab goes out, actually gets eaten by Gavant, so a nice read. Not throwing out that Diva ult allows you to eat the Graviton. Now WLK takes down two with the high noon, but it's not enough as they get dropped by a self-destruct. And the ult's all their own as they look. It's now great aspects flying in the sky, trying to take down whoever they can, but one Farah not going to be able to do much.
Yeah, even Reaper taking on the Farah, and with that, William and Mary, they're already taking the second map. It seems like it happened so fast that we didn't even see.
It certainly did. I mean, Fairfield not really able to take too much progress on that first, not any. In fact, I do believe in William and Mary just running through that second, running through their attack phase rather so rapidly. That's absolutely great for them. William and Mary definitely looking to come out strong.
It's just William and Mary, the composition that they are running right now is so effective for them. It works perfectly. It's more of a brawl style coming through from them, even when they were playing just a little bit more careful in different positionings. The Reaper in close range, that's something that you have to avoid if you're Fairfield University. This didn't happen because they wanted to have that proper engagement. But every time someone got taken down early, and yeah, they did get a few kills with the McCree at the end, but it was way too late. It seems like we couldn't even see the proper engagement from the team, but they had their already in the composition.
Well, sometimes the right idea means nothing without the right execution, Dryad, and hopefully we can see that execution kind of sharpen up as we go towards potentially the back half of this matchup, Fairfield University versus William and Mary. But we are going to be taking a quick break, allow our issues to get resolved, allow hopefully Fairfield to kind of sharpen some of their tools as well. But stick around, folks. We will be back after a quick break. Just like that, we are back and ready to go here, folks. Fairfield versus William and Mary. William and Mary so far taking a very good lead.
Yeah, so far we're already 2-0, and once again, it seems like it's happening so fast. And I think we've said this already over and over again, but Fairfield, they have the idea of how to initiate those fights. They have the idea of how to take control, but it just doesn't happen. It doesn't come through until the end, which is exactly what they need to do. And because of that, William and Mary already taking a 2-0, heading to what could be a last map is going to be Volskaya Industry.
Yeah, going on to the icy weather of Volskaya. That hits a little bit too close to home for me. But as we do look ahead, we see Unique throwing themselves off as Bastion. Going to be faking that a little bit as they switch on the Reaper.
Yeah, we already see the defense. In the meantime, is going to be the Winston Diva again from William Mary. Very interesting. I'm very surprised that they have been wanting to maintain this Sombra so far, but they're so dominant that they have nothing to worry about, even if they don't have enough damage or enough range. They don't really have a proper hit scan in case Fairfield University decides to go to an Echo or a Pharah. But like I said, they have the momentum going, so that might just be enough.
Oh,
as we say that though, wait.
Yeah, a huge entry there by WLK. Now Raw Man up, and already now it looks like Unique taken very low as well. The DPS have to be careful here. William and Mary cannot spare any more manpower. Getting tunneled into this small bunker is not going to be great, since this Junkrat can just throw in pills, but there's the Reaper creeping around. Unique in the backline, ready to throw in some damage. Using that Wraith form, try to reload, provide some more damage, takes down the Moira. Somehow Fairfield not able to maintain full control over this just yet. Nuklama brought out of the fight once again, and all of a sudden it looks like Fairfield have a little bit of fire in their bellies as they continue to throw in the damage. Unique takes down one more though. Will it be enough? Two more.
Oh. It might be enough for William Mary to come back, but it's not going to be easy, especially with the great aspects on the Junkrat, putting so much damage already. But Fairfield is only about to get their first stick. That engagement might be happening. Oh, the Moira getting taken down.
Yeah, WLK on this Hanzo being excellent at taking down those regroups that might be trying to come in just a moment too late. WLK gets caught between the two DPS. Now it's the Riptire coming online, tries to chase down the Lucio, succeeds in taking down TF2. Now with this great aspect, has to carry a little bit more of the burden themselves, but so far finding some decent success with that. And the Death Blossom trying to come through from Unique finds nothing this time.
I respect it. It seems like Unique got 2 kills before, too late into the fight, and that ultimate could have been effective, but there was no one else in the field, so everyone was looking at this Reaper, got taken down immediately. Now, 5 minutes, 14 seconds from Fairfield, they seem so much better on this map.
They certainly do. It seems like it is much more comfortable for them, but they have an entire second point to capture here. WK throwing out those dragons, not really raising across the bow of any of the side of William and Mary. However, the EMP goes out, lands onto 4 as Masks drops the sound barrier. That's a lot of shielding cut down because of one ultimate. Unique taking down 2 Sans Death Blossom this time around, and it looks like William and Mary so far able to stabilize off a very aggressive push from Fairfield.
The winning condition at this point is Unique staying alive. That seems like it's just enough, getting all the kills this Reaper just going insane now. Fairfield University, they have another opportunity, but they did take one tick though, so really good initiation for them. That tire might be ready soon. That self-destruct as well for the Diva. Oh, no. Very interesting positioning here, trying to stay alive.
Yeah, Nuklama just playing a little bit of that poke game, trying to get as much ult charge as they can. It worked a little bit. They got 66% as now we look towards a Fairfield, continuing to push up, really get aggressive onto this high ground. Nuklama's continuing to creep around. Doesn't want to cross that Hanzo anymore. It's already not turned out excellent for them once. Has to translocate away. Now Hanzo facing down a Primal Rage of Winston. It's gonna be Max just trying to bully down that DPS, but so far no kills are coming out for either team. That is until Unique comes into the fray, starts throwing those Hellfire shotguns left and right. And with this now, William and Mary starting to build an ult lead a little bit.
Exactly what we're talking about is that Winston with the ultimate, with the Primal Rage, is not going to be enough to win the fight. Is going to be the engagement of the rest of the team. We saw the Diva, we saw the Reaper taking control of the fight, getting a few kills, forcing Fairfield all the way back, and with that, they have another opportunity to hold here. The EMP finally ready for William Mary, so we can definitely expect this fight.
We'll see exactly how William and Mary want to enact with this. It looks like Nuklama leaning in with the EMP. It goes out, and the tire actually came out as well, but Great Aspects did get taken out of the animation midway through, meaning that they're not going to get the advantages of it. And with this, Fairfield just investing ult after ult. I don't know about this one, Dryad. It does take down the Winston, though, and might be a turnaround.
Yeah, but a little bit of a risky play. Now the Lucy getting taken down, no speed, but in the meantime, William Mary, they do have that momentum. They do have their Lucio and the Stun Barrier coming through, keeping everyone alive. They will be pushing forward. Unique hits 2 kills with the Reaper again. In Fairfield, they just have to back up. They used so many ultimates, and they just didn't work out. They weren't the first ones to initiate the fight, and that made the whole difference.
I mean, you're absolutely right there. We saw the tires come out. We saw the dragons, the grab, the self-destruct, and the coalescence, all for a big fat goose egg, not really netting too much. And in the meantime, Nuklama continuing to build up this ultimate, this EMP, just by hopping into those back lines and forcing the attention from Fairfield. That alone is buying plenty of time. But now, Fairfield finally at the gates, looking to get some sort of headway going here. Nuklama very close to another EMP. Will they decide to activate it this time around? Certainly going to find out. Fairfield looking to lean in. It's the Zarya cutting down the Diva, or at least trying to, as Unique makes his way through the back lines, taking it down the Lucio, then the Zarya, now the Diva. This is all said and done.
Oh yeah, there you go. Unique again, coming through with the kills. They're going to get enough. And now, Fairfield, they already know they have to regroup. There's nothing they can do. They get taken down, and William Mary, the more these fights keep going, the more ultimates they're going to be able to accumulate. They already have the EMP, they have the Death Blossom that they've been saving, and there's only 1 minute 23 seconds. This is about 2 fights that Fairfield University is going to have, and no ultimates that we can see soon. Maybe the dragons, but that doesn't guarantee the kills.
Yeah, if you're going to use those dragons, you definitely want the grab to be on the plate as well. Comboing those 2 ultimates could be so beneficial here. But the EMP comes out, lands onto 3 masks, not able to use the sound barrier, and because of that, Unique able to just hop in there, drop the Death Blossom, and get the 2K.
EMP Death Blossom works every single time, and now William and Mary, they still even have a few ultimates for the last fight territory that we're getting close to. It's going to be WOK with the dragons. In the meantime, for Fairfield University, trying to create space, and maybe the sound barrier as well, trying to keep everyone alive. But like I said, they just really need to get those kills. If they don't take Unique down, I don't know if it's going to be possible for them to take control of the point.
Well, the problem we keep seeing is Unique just keeps getting to so many different angles that Fairfield not quite able to capitalize on. And now, even still, we're seeing Fairfield be very discombobulated. The Lucio, the Zarya, all pushing up in different directions. But that's certainly a great start. WLK able to take down 2 with those dragons. The Riptire coming out. Doesn't quite get the kills it needs to, but draws a little bit of attention. Now the Diva Bomb coming in, rains down, but it's answered by a Diva Bomb from the side of William and Mary. And that one, Gavant gets 2. Now, things looking very grim for Fairfield. They're trying everything they can, but there's only so much you can do. Wrench, last member on the field, and with that, overtime's going to burn down and down.
Oh, and an unfortunate situation for Fairfield. They took the Moira and they took the Reaper down. That was a perfect opportunity for them to initiate. But like I said, William and Mary, they just have the ultimate economy. They could use it. All those ultimates at the end in Fairfield University, they didn't have that many opportunities. If William Mary didn't have that self-destruct, if they didn't have that EMP coming through, then it seems like Fairfield could have gotten just 3 checkpoints here, but it just wasn't possible. And now it's going to be William Mary the ones that have to initiate first, and they might just make it.
They certainly might. If you're on the business of looking for bright sides for Fairfield, they do have a bit of percentage on that second point. So if you lose first, you're not necessarily out of the game, but you still prefer to keep it.
And even for William Mary, I think this is going to be interesting to see. Fairfield University, we definitely have to wait a few extra seconds. Let's see what they're going to bring. But so far, I'm not seeing a change in Bastion. I'm waiting. Bastion,
No?
maybe? Is he going to be?
I mean, if you're gonna run a composition that you absolutely want to lock first, you kind of wouldn't mind the Bastion. So Fairfield looks like they are going to be running out with it.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to be seeing the Bastion. They're also going to have the sim for the teleporter from both sides. I've seen this strategy before, and the reason why I haven't seen it work before as much is because those rotations, you have to work with your Bastion every single time. The minute that William Mary decides to take the high ground, that's when the Fairfield needs to make a decision. What side are they going to take, and who are they going to target first? If they don't do this, then they know that William Mary, especially the dive style composition, they're going to take control.
We're already seeing the little bit of a staggered position coming out from Fairfield. They can't quite decide what side they want to stay on. WLK teleporting back and forth. The teleporter eventually taken down. William and Mary have pretty much crippled that pivot point for the side of Fairfield, and now it's Fairfield stuck up on this one lone high ground with William and Mary opposite them.
Seems like William Mary, they're just waiting to have a proper engagement going on. The hack might be enough, but he needs to get taken down. Good start for the defense.
Oh no, but WLK falls down. You want to keep your Bastion, that powerhouse, on the high ground as much as possible. You're going to have to wrap around and try to hit it from a little bit of a different angle. Try to cut that angle from the bunker onto the high ground that now is possessed by William and Mary. Lands right onto the Winston, but the Diva Matrix coming out from Gavant, able to mitigate all that damage. Now both the DPS taken down for Fairfield. They don't stand much of a chance here. It was a costly gambit that cost them everything.
They lost the Bastion, they lost the high ground, and with that, seems like William Mary, they're going to take control now. It's just a matter of getting those kills, and now they see them coming one by one. William Mary, they have this momentum. They used to have the ultimate economy. We might be even seeing a snowball.
It's certainly very possible here, Dryad. The Primal Rage is going to be online for Max for the win, but if you're on Fairfield's side, you have a couple things to work with in your own pocket.
Yeah, definitely. You do have a few ultimates, but it's not going to be easy knowing that William Mary, they do have 5 minutes. They can initiate with a Primal Rage. They can get a few kills with Unique on the front line, and that would be it. Their respawns will not be able to come back in time.
We'll have to see exactly how this Proton Barrier wants to get utilized. You gotta probably use it a little bit faster unless you want to keep Sim in that fight for more than one turn here. As now we look, sees William and Mary going up towards that right side, towards the assembly line side. The turrets keep getting sent out, the mini sentries trying to get sent out, and Unique kind of gonna have to take a duel with WLK there, but we'll see exactly which one of them. Nuclum in the meantime gonna be dropping the EMP, lands big, nobody able to use their ultimates despite having quite a few built up, and now William and Mary's just picking apart the opposition.
They're going to get taken down one by one. Fairfield University trying to stay on point, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. With that, William Mary, they take this 3-0.
And that is so unfortunate. Fairfield had a lot in their pocket to really stall that second point push, but they just let William and Mary set that tempo, and because of that, they were able to drop that EMP and absolutely win it.
Yeah, like you said, setting the tempo, one of the most important things in Overwatch, and William and Mary, they were doing an amazing job at this. Always having that first fight, always having that first kill, and that made the whole difference. Fairfield, like you said, they have a few abilities to work with, but it just wasn't enough. And with that, William Mary taking it 3-0, really good job from them.
Yeah, so far they are looking pretty dominant, pretty strong. So far they're going to be making their scoreline now a nice 2-1. So we will be hearing from them here very shortly. We'll have a few words from one of the members when we reach you guys on the other side of this break, so stick around. Hello and welcome back from that brief break, everybody. Sir Waltham and Dryad here once again, but this time we're in the interviewer's booth, and as we mentioned before, we do have a little bit of a special guest in here from William and Mary. It's TF2 is better. Hello, friends, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, I want to ask you, you guys looked pretty strong over Fairfield this entire time. I don't think it's too outrageous to say that. It looked like, however, on Volskaya, you guys gave up a few more points. Do you think there was a reason that Fairfield was able to perform a little bit better against your team there?
I mean, we started off losing Sombra really early to the Hanzo headshot, and then I got headshot later on as well, and then from there, it was just kind of stalling to death.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I have two questions. But first of all, so tell me about this Reaper strategy, because it's kind of insane. How is this working out for you guys? What's the decision making on going Reaper and really getting the skills over and over again?
Well, we saw the experimental patch going through, and our first thought was, oh, let's try Orisa, since we have our one player, Max for the Win, was really excited to show off his Orisa skills to our... actually, the Reaper player was at one point an Orisa one trick. Self-proclaimed.
Wow.
That's not an insult. He very much enjoys that identity. So he decided to... Well, we decided to whip out the Reaper since, you know, he got his slug shotties. Yeah. And in our first few scrims with it, it was working really well for us. So we decided to bring it into the game.
It's definitely working out. And I also have another question. So I feel like every time I see Sombra, I'm very hesitant to see, because it's just very... You never really know if it's going to be effective, just because you also depend on your team engaging after that EMP. For you guys, did he have that strategy of Sombra set from the beginning as well, or is it something that you feel comfortable with? Is it, you know, the players, everyone feels comfortable with getting value out of that EMP every single time? We don't see that often, and most of the times when we see here in EGF, it just doesn't work out, but for you guys, it did.
So our history with Sombra goes back to our first few games in EGF, because at that time the meta was a Reinhardt rush comp with a Sombra Reaper, and so we've kind of been adapting that to like with a different tank line with the Winston D.Va, so we're able to carry over some of those skills, including our Sombra player in Nuke Llama. So for all the successful plays we see in the game with the EMPs and Sombra, there were quite a few in scrims that didn't work out quite as well. So you guys are seeing the better end of it, I would say. But it worked out for us this time, so I hope it continues to do so.
Yeah, well, I certainly was about to say that, you know, the board speaks for itself. You guys came up in a pretty clean 3-0 over your opponents today. So once again, TF2 is better. Congratulations. And before I let you go, I always like to roll out the red carpet, allow our guests the opportunity to give any shout outs.
I know last week we shouted out our main tank, Max for the Win, who has been doing some incredible work, so I'd like to continue that trend. Brought in as a console convert last semester, and he's been just climbing up the ranks both in comp and like within our team as a leadership role. So he's doing absolutely great. But just the entire William Mary team doing really well. So yeah, that's my shout out. And Wichita, because we love them and we will continue to do so. So hugs and kisses, if that's allowed.
I think I'll personally allow it, so I'll take a heat for you on that one. TF2 is better. But thanks again for hopping in here, just hanging out with us for a brief moment. And again, in case you haven't heard it enough, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, with that, Dryad, we are ready to conclude William and Mary versus Fairfield and look onto the horizon of our next match. Won't be happening immediately. We'll have a little bit of a break, but it's going to be University of Colorado versus Wichita State. So folks at home, stay tuned. And here we are, folks, back again for the second game of the night. University of Colorado versus Wichita State University. Dryad, University of Colorado at a 2-0. Wichita State at a 1-0. We didn't get to see them last week, so curious to see how they're going to be coming off this perhaps cold period.
Yeah, a little bit of a break that they had, and I was even looking at the standings that they had for fall, and it was really even. They were one after the other, just almost having the same scores, almost performing the same. So once again, I'm very curious to see, like you said, they had a break, so they had maybe more time to prepare, to maybe change the composition, like we saw last team talk about how you know, with the patch coming through, there's a lot of players that want to run the Orisa, the Reaper, that might be better. So maybe a lot of experiments that we might be seeing.
Well, certainly experimentation can yield some interesting results if our last game is nothing to speak of. We saw the Orisa Diva get experimented with. Didn't quite bring any fruit there, but now we are going to once again look towards the ruins of Ilios to start off this matchup.
Yeah, once again, starting in Ruined. I'm not very sure if we're going to be seeing the same compositions that we saw in that last match. It was really interesting. But like I said, there are so many different possibilities for teams to play. They can try the Orisa being a little bit stronger, but like I said, I don't think it's going to be enough for it to be meta. It's just a matter of what you combine Orisa with and how aggressive you want to play. If University of Colorado is going to come out with the Orisa, which seems like they will, never mind, it's going to be the Winston, more that standard coming through. The Winston, sorry, the double bubble compositions. Again, some more of a brawl style with the Reinhardt and the Diva. It's all about getting that point for us, getting that first fight.
Let's see exactly who does take point, as now Wichita going to be taking this little bridge, overlooking point, and pushing right on the University of Colorado's side. I like this. Doesn't give their Widow too much room to breathe, but Dynamite still has to be careful, as any aerial light taking there can be a little bit dangerous. And speaking of danger, Foxycon going to be taken down early. That is the lack of rotation that's going to be coming through from Wichita, but it is equalized a little bit with that Widow being taken down, and now Funkmaster quick to help out their team, jumping onto that Echo. Dynamite barely able to get away. Looking a little bit like a brawl on point, although it looks like so far it's be going back and forth. No team are really taking advantage of either side. Funkmaster finally dropping.
Yeah, Funkmaster not being able to jump, getting hacked, getting taken down, and with that, Wichita will be taking control of the point now. It was very interesting, but because we saw Foxycon dying first as a Lucio, so it seems like the fight was going to go for the side of University of Colorado, but then Foxycon coming back, getting just in time, and now taking control of the situation.
And this is a situation we've seen before, Dryad, earlier today. In fact, the team that captures point first doesn't necessarily have enough juice to keep it held past that first fight. We'll see if maybe Wichita State continue to hold here in a dominant fashion. We do see Dynamite close to that duplicate. We'll see if they decide to pick anybody for that duplication effort, but they will have to get a little bit of healing now. A lot of Wichita State being funneled into this back area. It makes it a little bit more lined up for those Widow shots if they're able to get those angles. We see Seed, though, throwing in the Amplification Matrix. Going to be nice to get the damage and the healing done. Gets dove by the Winston, but has the Immortality Field to keep themselves healthy for a brief moment. With this, Wichita State taking a few of their own licks. That Primal Rage going to be coming out from Funkmaster, but it's not enough to really dislocate too much. The Transcendence now being forced out from University of Colorado, and it's going back and forth between these two teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of action going on. It's going to be the Shatter taking on Illicit. With that, Wichita still getting the momentum takedown. Also the Zarya and the duplicate, but they're almost getting the Primal Rage. Just didn't quite get it for long enough, but already about to pass us 70%. Really good way of controlling the point for Wichita.
Yeah, if you're on the University of Colorado side, though, you know you have a couple of ultimates to work with. You have the grab, you have the duplicate of your own. As well, that round going to be looking pretty good. Going to be very effective against that tick damage that Kellerkill can really try to throw down.
And University of Colorado, they have the ultimate economy. They have to initiate with the duplicate, but their rally, that's exactly what they're going to do. Wichita, they have to hold control of the point.
We'll see if they can manage that hold, or if their hands are just perhaps a bit too weak. The grab goes out from Ruby. The hack not quite able to catch them, but the grab doesn't catch anything in kind. Now that's looking like a little bit of a failed ult. University of Colorado going to be flailing around here trying to make anything happen, and the whip shot onto Kellerkill is going to be exactly that. University of Colorado now looking very good. They do get the flip as well. A great opportunity to continue building up that progress. That Sombra not allowed to get away.
Yeah, Cloud getting those kills, gets 3 now, make it 4 with the kill of Foxycon, and with that, University of Colorado, they have some time to reposition themselves, to hold this defense. They have the duplicate still, Cloud still has a high noon. That might just be enough to try to get at least to the 70%, which they do have the amplification, but this is something that University of Colorado can avoid.
University of Colorado has that Dead Eye to really put the oppression down onto Dynamite, but they lose Ruby early on, and now the duplicate comes online. Daddy D ready to throw in, get an Earth Shatter of their own. They're just playing it back for a little bit, but that may cause them a little bit of this team fight, as now they're starting to lose members. University of Colorado, the high noon does eventually take down Dynamite, but it may be a moment too late. The duplicate gets forced out of Daddy D. Not going to be quite enough to really put the hurt on this team as Wichita swings back.
Yeah, Cloud coming through with a Dead Eye, gets a few kills, get the kill, but it seems like it's just not going to be enough with the Zarya getting 2 kills. Wichita, they're regaining the control. They might also regain the point.
Yeah, at this point, University of Colorado just trying to make it last as long as possible. The hack onto Bird Boys ensures that they can't skate around, can't heal themselves, can't be zippy in the way Lucios would sure want. Tries to go for the hack pack, but can't quite reach it. EMP goes out, doesn't really net a whole lot, but just locks down the point and allows Wichita to get that first capture.
That was really close, though. University of Colorado, they were playing very aggressive, but it came to a matter of Wichita taking the initiation, getting that first pick. And with the number disadvantage that University of Colorado had, it just made it more difficult to that last fight territory that they had. Now, Wichita, they want to win this point as well. And I'm very curious to see exactly what compositions the teams decide to run. The Winston Zarya, we talked about it before. It seems like that was a composition that a lot of teams liked playing before. But as the meta changes, are they going to stay with it because it's their comfort pick, or do they want to try something else?
I like the option of the Winston Zarya. I think University of Colorado just needs to tighten up those ultimates. We saw a couple grabs go a little bit wild, a little bit loose. They didn't land the value they needed to. They sharpened that up. I think it's a much better tool.
Yeah, and with that, it seems like Wichita, with the Lucio especially, they're going to have a little speed. The D.Va playing a little bit aggressive, trying to push everyone away from the University of Colorado. This doesn't quite happen, but now they have the high ground here.
They certainly do have the high ground, but it's going to be Funkmaster who's diving a little bit aggressively with that Winston, but the aggression does pay off as now the kills coming through. Fluffy, but Deadly getting burned down by Cloud.
Good positioning from University of Colorado. They knew they wanted to take the high ground, then they played aggressive with a single pick. The D.Va was out of mech, and with that, they take control of the situation. Now, they know that the winning condition again is going to be taking control of the high ground in this space as much as possible, in Wichita, they just have to regroup. They have to wait a few seconds. We see the Sombra just trying to peek a little bit, trying to see, but any hack might be detrimental, might reveal our positioning.
It's going to be very hard for Flexecution to go anywhere, especially with that anti-nade. Ruby bailing out their teammate, allowing that player to get away. I believe it was the Ana. As now we see them trying to pepper in those right clicks. The high noon coming out from Cloud. A very early high noon, but it will buy quite a bit of time. University of Colorado has their tank plan playing pretty far forward, though.
Yeah, the high noon just used to create the space to delay that push from the side of Wichita. Oh, Flexecution getting taken down. And with that, University of Colorado gets both of the DPS. It seems like it's just going to be a cleanup.
Certainly is looking very good for University of Colorado. They're getting the momentum in their pocket. Just a few remaining members to try to make something happen for Wichita. Not going to happen now. Ruby looking to charge with the nano charge.
Oh, the nano, and a lot of pressure that University of Colorado is putting into point, passing that 60%. Ultimate economy looking really good. Cloud already with that 70 to have another Jedi. And Wichita, they just haven't figured out the best way to initiate. They had the right idea in Ruins, but now
It does not quite look like it's in their wheelhouse just yet. The duplicate comes out from University of Colorado, tries to throw in the Earth Shatter. Can't quite get it. Daddy D still taking a whaling there, not able to get a second one off. Does get a couple of kills, but it might not be enough. University of Colorado now starting to hemorrhage these players as Dynamite looking to tear up on their own as Echo. Now as we see the Primal Rage coming out from Funkmaster, just trying to hold on to anything they can.
Oh, this Echo from University of Colorado trying to stay alive, and finally Wichita, they take control of the point, but it's 99 for Colorado, and I don't know any single mistake that Wichita commits here is going to be detrimental for them, is going to give the point for University of Colorado, especially when they have that EMP. The tanks just need to avoid it.
We do see Cloud using that high noon on that high ground. A lot of opportunity there, at least forces Wichita State into a very uncomfortable position. And with that, the picks are able to start coming through for Colorado. The D.Va Bomb tries to go and dislodge that McCree, the Ana, but doesn't find anything instead. Now the grab comes in to lock down the few remaining members. And with this, University of Colorado has a free point.
Yeah, they're going to take control of the point. The D.Va gets Steam Mech, and now everyone who tries to touch from the side of Wichita is going to get taken down, and it doesn't seem like they even have enough time. University of Colorado taking this to a 1-1 here in Ilias, and is going to be defining the next map.
You talk about a one-map warm-up there, Dryad. University of Colorado looked strong coming out on the Lighthouse, but it's now going to come down to well, and we'll see which team comes out more dominant here.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect opportunity for any of these two teams to really bring out whatever composition they feel comfortable with. We saw a little bit of that Diva coming through, that Reinhardt, the Zarya, the Winston. So many tanks that create the space, but in this map specifically, here in Well, might be a little bit more difficult. So I want to see the same level of aggression that we saw from University of Colorado. If they do this, then that's exactly how they take control of the point and the fight.
Well, control is certainly the literal name of the game here as we look ahead. Coming in with University of Colorado, running in on that McCree, looking to keep the oppression down onto Dynamite. Can't say I disagree. Flexecution on the meantime on that Torbjorn, perhaps to try to mitigate the dive from Funkmaster. We'll see how that comes into practicality here in a moment. As we now see Funkmaster dropping down, trying to get a lot of that cleave damage done with the Tesla cannon, able to do it and maintain this high ground. A very nice, safe spot for the Winston. Can't argue it too much right there. Now puts the bubble down, starts to get some heavy damage done. Has to retreat, but already the progress has been given over to University of Colorado. At least it would have been, but the contest has to come through.
Yeah, but now everyone from out of Wichita trying to go low, but is the break that gets taken down. A lot of action, a lot of kills coming through, but Wichita, they might have the initiation here. Dynamite getting two.
That is so unfortunate. University of Colorado had the control. They just didn't have the power. They didn't have the ability to overcome that immortality field because of that seed, able to save their team. Wichita State able to fight on those low HP pools.
Yeah, and this might be a difference in composition. The Winston, we saw it jumping back into the high ground because the minute that the Winston uses his abilities to dive, there's nothing he can do to go back to the same spot to be safe. And now without University of Colorado, they don't have the protection that they need, which that they will be taking space here. They don't want to let the point go.
An isolated McCree in Cloud might be a dangerous position here, especially as Flexecution lands a couple of shots with the rebar cannon. Flexecution landing more than just a couple, getting 4 kills under their belt. No turret in sight as it gets taken down by a sonar arrow. And now WSU on a good spot.
Execution with the Torbjorn doing a really good job, and that's going to be enough. Wichita doesn't even have to use any ultimates to win that fight. They still have the Molten Core. They want to really create the space. They also have to duplicate. But University of Colorado, the main thing that they had to work on is that proper engagement with the Nano going to the Winston ideally, and then it's just a matter of playing aggressive, getting those kills like we talked about, the team effort coming through.
You have to be very careful here. Flexecution can throw out the welcome mat, making it dangerous to step anywhere inside the house of Wichita State. I like this combo of the bubble with the high noon. Tries to get combined here. Cloud takes down 2. That's a great start for the side of Colorado. Now they start to get some point presence here as Funkmaster throws in the Primal Rage. Let's hope it's not too heavy of an investment as Cloud continues to dink.
Cloud doing a really good job here. Gets taken down at the end, but that was really good effort, a really good team effort as well. It was the bubble protecting the McCree, and it was also the speed boost trying to get it to that position that they wanted. Ideal winning condition for University of Colorado, which now are getting percentage on the both clock.
But there's a lot of ultimates to contest with a low health pool on that Baptiste, saved by the immortality field. And Wichita State only throwing in a few, make it 3 or 4 ultimates, and they're able to take this point. They will get some progress ticking up.
Yeah, but they did use a lot of ultimates now, and it seems like they also want to use the high noon dynamite with the duplicate, also using that ability, not really getting any kills, but once again going to be enough to guarantee the Wichita would be passing the 90%. This could be one last fight for University of Colorado. You do have the Gravity Surge, but it has to be effective now.
You've also got the nano boost that's going to allow Funkmaster to swing heavy there. A lot of deployables getting taken down from the side of Wichita State, but Funkmaster also getting taken down. The boom onto the Zarya. No, you hate to see it, but FoxyCon, such a huge fan of it. And with this, things are going back and forth, especially with a big anti-nade taking down FoxyCon. It looks like the supports are popping off.
The support is getting 2 kills each. Now you once again hear the Deadeye coming through. Just a fight trying to get this Lucid Dynamite, trying to do anything on the field, but this is going to be enough. The majority of the kills coming through. University of Colorado doing an amazing job now.
Yeah, Wichita State managed to hold that for an impressive amount of time, and right now we're seeing them start to lose that control of the point. The Wrecking Ball gonna have to regroup.
Yeah, the support line doing a really good job from University of Colorado, but now Wichita, they still know that a single fight is going to be enough. Ultimate economy, though, not really there. We now see once again the Zarya coming through, so Bro style for this out of Wichita, while University of Colorado, they still have the Shatter. It's going to be ready. It's already there to be used. Just about the positioning, and there you go.
Oh, big Earth Shatter coming in.
Wow.
And I was going to say, if you're Colorado, you can't let too many mistakes go by, but that's certainly an easy one to win off the back of.
Yeah, I was saying it's just about the positioning, and there you go. Really effective Shatter for the side of University of Colorado. They didn't know how to use anything else. They now do need to go into a little bit of a poke phase before to also have the ultimate coming for next fight.
We'll see if they can manage that, if they can build up those ultimates, as Wichita State's going to be looking to equalize the field in that aspect. They still have Sound Barrier. We'll see if they feel the need to invest in here. Punkmaster dangerously low, can't quite bail themselves out, but neither can Fluffy, but Deadly. Both tanks now down for University of Colorado. That's going to make it a lot harder to survive here. We see Bird Boys cruising around on the inside of that well, giving the Sound Barrier, but it doesn't seem to be enough. The Tracer, the Torbjorn, both being overwhelming here, and of course the Echo going to be trying to find any benefit they can, and certainly going to be working for Wichita.
Yeah, the percentage no longer going for the side of Colorado. It's just a clean up for Wichita. They got the kills going on for them. They got the advantage, and with that, they also got Ilias.
Such a close potential for touch there from the Doomfist coming in from Colorado, but these two teams definitely going neck and neck here, Dryad. I think we're seeing this scoreline definitely live up to its title.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. How close these two teams were in terms of that table, that positioning, and we are definitely seeing it now.
Yeah, that brutal whip shot off the map onto the Zarya, and then just the standard kills here. But I mean, excellent play coming through from both of these teams. I think we're seeing a little bit difference in style here, where it seems like Colorado might be favoring that Winston a little bit more when it's maybe not the most applicable.
Just Winston has been in a weird spot recently, just because the minute that you use your abilities to dive, you don't have the abilities to go out. So then that's when you use the Zarya bubble maybe to get out and to disengage from the fight. But if the bubble gets taken down, then it's already too late. And when you have such an aggressive composition from the enemy team, they're going to break the bubble immediately, take down this Winston. Then you already don't have the protection from your main tank. You don't have the positioning. You don't have the space that you need. But regardless, it was a really, really close map.
Yeah, I'm overall looking forward to seeing how these teams continue to proceed here, Dryad. And in case you didn't catch our first match, we didn't get an opportunity to go over it. But of course, we started off on Ilios. We will be going to Blizzard World after this, then Volskaya. I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams interact on those maps, because so far we've seen pretty fast Blizzard Worlds and Volskayas tonight. Yeah,
so far it's the last match that we saw was a 3-0, and we're expecting it to be a little bit closer. So far, it seems like it's going to be, especially when we get into the next map. It's more a heavier map, right? Blizzard World, all about how aggressive you want to play when you're attacking and defending. And with these two teams and their compositions, I think it's just going to be a matter of that. Who gets the first kills? Cloud was doing insane of the McCree, so I definitely want to see it again.
Yeah, I liked that cohesion coming through with these teams. A lot of highlights to really talk about, to really kind of point out there, Dryad. I mean, I think that there are many multiple plays from both of these sides that could be, pointed to as, very strong performers. Definitely, no member of either of these teams to count out just yet.
Yeah, definitely. There were some really good highlights. We saw also the Reinhardt coming through. We're about to see them. And yeah, there you go. One of the things that we're mentioning, Cloud and this McCree getting a lot of kills, getting that positioning every single time. I love how the team effort is going to benefit the team so much.
The right-click McCree from the flashbang, it hurts my soul, but you can't argue with impact. And this is what we were talking about, Dryad. The rotation using the Winston bubble and the Lucio. You love seeing it.
Yeah, I love seeing that coordination. It's something that we don't see very often, especially at this level. But when it happens, that's when you have that winning condition. Is that team effort playing aggressive and winning. Now there you go. Also, Dynamite definitely popping off on the Echo.
We are about to see, I anticipate, the big Earth Shatter from the Funk Master. Of course,
it's so good.
It was not blocked, but just huge swings coming in beyond that. And when you're in an alleyway, explosions feel bigger, apparently.
Yeah, they were definitely not expecting that Shatter. It worked out perfectly, and it was such a close area that there was no way to expect to protect themselves from it.
A little bit of the turnaround is fair play here, though, as Wichita State looking to claim those kills and eventually close out the map. But overall, some brilliant performances, particularly on this well. It felt like that was really one of the highlight maps for both these teams.
Yeah, and I really like that we saw highlights from everyone, from the tanks, from the Reinhardt reels, and saw a few highlights from the DPS that we already mentioned, and the support that Lucia getting those boops. Really, really good job. So now it's really just a matter of keeping that performance for both teams, because even if Ilias went from the side of Wichita, it was so close that any of them could have taken it. And University of Colorado now and here in Blizzard were starting on the defense. It's going to be about the same composition that we saw before.
Yeah, no big surprise there. I like Cloud on this McCree. I think that's a safe bet. Daddy D on the Torbjorn, though, that's a look we haven't seen.
The Torbjorn, yeah. And for the defense, I do like seeing this pick coming through the turret in case we see maybe an Echo, maybe a Tracer trying to flank. Then you have the turret to stop that push a little bit more in University of Colorado. They even want to hold into point, which I do like the Winston pushing a little bit forward. Also good strategy going back, staying with the team.
And we see Fluffy but Deadly creeping around in the back lines, but Cloud has eyes on the back of their head, ready to respond at a moment's notice. Daddy D's turret gets taken down rather immediately, leaving perhaps that Torbjorn a little less effective, but still going to be looking to hold their own here. It's now Boulder, and rather the University of Colorado, who has to try to push up, try to maintain the tempo here as they're letting themselves get a little discombobulated. The Torbjorn chasing that ball right into the Reaper's waiting arms. However, it's Cloud who's really coming down to oppress the skies.
Yeah, the Mercy getting taken down, and this is not going to be easy. No supports for the set of Wichita, which means they just have to go back. There's going to be a delay. There you go. Another kill. Cloud getting defect onto the Wrecking Ball. Definitely feeling confident after that one.
Now, Cloud going to be throwing down the spray, letting them all know where that McCree stands. And any losses taken by Colorado right now going to have a nice, decent chance to walk back without being too far staggered beyond the fight, especially as Wichita State perhaps takes a little bit more of their time. It allows the Torbjorn to get set up, so a good chance for Colorado.
Yeah, now University of Colorado, they just have to figure out the best way to hold this defense. None of them can get taken down. The Deadeye is going to be ready for Cloud. We've seen it be effective before, but can it happen now again?
Certainly remains to be seen. Funkmaster looking to get in on that dive. We'll see exactly what they can maintain. Cloud with that high noon, looking to pop it from the high ground, but has the Reaper. Oh no, the Wraith form actually leaves Cloud alone. May have been a little bit of a mistake there into the waiting arms of Bird Boy as the concussive boop comes through. Now the point presence is being made by Wichita State. University of Colorado looking like they might have to be the ones to start to fight towards that point. Nano Boost on the Funkmaster certainly helps things a little bit though. Primal Rage not needed as Funkmaster manages to maintain this with the help of their team.
Yeah, the duplicate also coming through, but it just might be too late. Dynamite getting taken down, not getting any value of the duplicate turning into Winston. And now this is an ultimate that you spent, along with many others for the set of Wichita, that the more they use without taking control of the fight, the more it's going to affect them. They only have 1 minute 30. University of Colorado, they do have the ultimate economy here.
And you can do the grab into the Torbjorn Molten Core. It's going to be a very powerful combo if they manage to land it. Ruby waits out that gravitic or the kinetic grasp and then just throws it in. It's going to be the Torbjorn laying down that Molten Core. The retreat coming in from Wichita State now very dangerous. No losses from the side of Colorado, except for the Winston, as I say that.
Yeah, the Winston getting taken down, but it doesn't seem like it's going to affect them just because those kills coming through very, very late, and Wichita, they're going to be delayed for this last fight. It's only 1 minute, less than a minute remaining for Wichita to try to take control, and that's going to give enough time for the Winston to come back. They have the Nano to give to this Winston. They'll also have the sound barrier, and they also have Cloud, which, you know, it seems like it's going to be enough.
Yeah, Cloud already positioning up towards that high ground, perhaps ready to get some sort of a wild high noon going. And Funkmaster creeping around in the back, runs face first into an Echo, has the Primal Rage to keep themselves alive for just a moment longer. Sound barrier being prompted from FoxyCon, however, doesn't save the Reinhardt as they're taken down by Ruby just a little bit too early. Funkmaster going to be bullying away that Baptiste, not able to take advantage of their own amplification field. Colorado really playing around the ults that Wichita tries to throw.
Yeah, the Immortality Field also was used very early for Wichita. It's going to be 5 seconds, and can anyone touch from Wichita? That kill though, Birdwood gets taken down, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Certainly doesn't look like there's going to be too much presence on point. It's the Death Blossom trying to come out, but Execution taken down by a couple shots of Rebar to the head with that both DPS go down, and no progress given over to Wichita.
A full hold, really well done from the side of the defense, always having that winning condition. very well understood by every single player. It was the positioning benefiting them, and they even took a long time to win those fights, which, even though it can be risky, it's delaying more and more fights that could happen for Wichita. So University of Colorado, amazing job on the defense. Now they have to perform the same, only that 33% is going to be enough for them to take this point.
Yeah, and based purely off that defense, it seems like University of Colorado are going to be in a very good spot. It seems like they know exactly how they want to play Blizzard World, and if I'm a betting man, I think that's going to apply to their attack phase as well.
Yeah, and you can definitely expect that McCree maybe coming through again for University of Colorado on the attack. Wichita, they have to figure out a way to play more aggressive because they are trying to go in all together. They're trying to get those kills, but University of Colorado, with their really good rotations and positioning, is kind of outperforming them a little bit. So that's something I want to see change for Wichita if they want to hold this defense, because there is a lot of time and many things could happen. So if they're able to get those ultimates to initiate first, then University of Colorado might get overwhelmed and we might even see a tie.
One thing we are seeing from Wichita, they're going to be coming out on that Zenyatta. Might be expecting that Winston to get a little dive happy, and if that happens, well, that Discord Orb can make it all that more punishing. Also, Foxycon going to be with the Mercy, going up towards the sky with Dynamite as well. Taking a little bit of early damage, nothing they can't heal up and just repair. Now, as we look ahead, it's going to be Wichita trying to get some early picks, and it's exactly what they get in Daddy D.
Yeah, Hands are getting taken down already, and now University of Colorado, they have to just wait a few extra seconds if they want to have a proper engagement with all 6 members. Wichita, in the meantime, so far so good on the defense.
They certainly are operating under a decent level of performance here. Fluffy but Deadly perhaps getting a little bit too big for their britches. Takes a stun grenade, has to back out, retreat for the time being. Well, the University of Colorado slowly rotates up through into that lower mega room. They're going to look to jump up onto the boat shack. And Dynamite dangerously low, however, Foxycon managing to save their bacon for the time being. That Mercy healing so strong now, and Wichita getting put in an awkward rotation where now they're suddenly on the attacking side, but Daddy D caught out by that Wrecking Ball. Fluffy but Deadly is causing distraction right now.
Yeah, and I was talking about working all together, but this is not something that we're seeing from the attackers here at University of Colorado. They're getting taken down one by one. They're going to delay the next fight. It doesn't look like it's going to be effective, but they're committed. They want to initiate now with the Nano Winston.
A good jump from Funkmaster onto the Sigma gives a great opening for the side of Wichita to really continue this push forward, or rather would have been a good opportunity for Colorado, but Wichita managing to cling it back. They managed to hold so far and so good.
Like I said, a few members for this side of University of Colorado were taken down, and using that nano into the Winston when not all members were there to get value out of it is a very risky play. I prefer for University of Colorado that they know they only have to get that 32%, so if they can overwhelm Wichita with the ultimate economy, that might just be enough. But now they don't have the nano, they have to build it again.
Sure, enough with that. Wrecking Ball going to be sussed out by Illicit on the Ana and then called out. You see the dive try to come through from Colorado, but they just can't quite take advantage. And now Fluffy but Deadly looking to be capitalizing on these weaker members, those that get separated off. A big roll through, however, gets stunned out. The big stun doesn't get caught by the Gravitic Flux, mostly because it's coming from their team. As now Wichita State looks to suffer a little bit in the manpower department. It's going to be the Winston trying to throw hands with the giant Primal Rage coming online. Cloud finding nothing with this high noon. Instead, it's going to be their teammate getting thrown like a pinball into the mines.
A lot of ultimates being used for University of Colorado. Once again, that garbage concerns with the duplicate connecting really well. Get a few more kills, University of Colorado. They are getting a few, but I don't know if they can take control of the point.
They certainly have the opportunity for some quicker respawns here. Stan Zenyatta trying their best to hold out onto point, playing Crossfire with Flexecution on that Torbjorn. A great option there as Cloud gets taken down. Seed managing to cling back to life until the shields come back. 154 health, keeping the Wrecking Ball alive, and it looks like Wichita State have actually managed to pull it back. One fight maybe if Colorado's quick.
They could have taken it. The Zenyatta was 4 HP, gets one pick, and now forces University of Colorado back. We might be seeing a draw after all. It's going to be 35 seconds remaining. A lot of the ultimates coming through for University of Colorado is going to be that Graviton and those Dragons. That might be the winning condition.
Somebody needs to pay attention to this wrecking ball. The D.Va does get taken down. That's a D.Va mech for a D.Va mech for Azaria, but it just looks like Wichita has the overwhelming power. Funkmaster able to take down one in seed, finally closing the job they couldn't finish earlier, but looks like it's just a moment too late, a fight too late as the Winston tries to get away, but falls.
I was saying the grab dragons, but Ruby wasn't even able to use this ultimate before getting taken down. Now you hear both of them, but it's just way too late, and we are seeing a draw.
Wow. Wow, it has been a while since we've seen a draw here, Dryad. At least you and I have, and I'm kind of glad to see it. It means we're going to have a more Overwatch on the way, and these two teams definitely fighting tooth and nail. I've said it before.
It was very close to both of them, but a few mistakes that were committed throughout the fight that just made it impossible. They were using ultimates late into the fight rather than initiating with them, and it was just delay after delay. They didn't have any opportunities to fight, and by the time that they maybe had the ultimate economy, they got taken down, and it was way too late.
Yeah, certainly not quite in the bag for either of these teams. Blizzard World looking very strong defensively for both these sides, or perhaps weak offensively, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that they're both looking good on defense.
Yeah, I mean, they were looking good in defense, and I think we have the indication of that, knowing that when we saw them on control, they were really good at holding the point, getting it to 99, but then they were having issues getting the point right at the end, so the attacking was lacking a little bit, even though they had the ultimate. So very close, kind of what we expected from these two teams, knowing how close they were on the table. We already said that. And University of Colorado, it seems like the first map was very close to them. Now second one, but they lost the second one. We had a draw. Can the next map be the one that they win?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point. It's it's a chart of continual progress. You start with a loss, then you go to a tie, maybe you get a win, then you get a dominant win. You go from one point to the next, climbing your way up to the top. At least that's going to be the hope here for Colorado, but we will find out on the other end of this break. We'll be right back. And we're back, folks. Just like that, after an intense draw on Blizzard World. I was not expecting it to draw at that first point. I don't know where I would have expected it to draw, since it's a hybrid map. You can only really tie at that first point. But either way, Wichita State and University of Colorado both going to be locked in a dead heat battle. 1-0 for Wichita, though.
Yeah, so if you see the score, if you see Wichita getting 1 and University of Colorado getting 0, that doesn't mean that we've only done one map. We're about to go into the third map. Last one was a draw. Very interesting draw. I think I brought the possibility of it being a draw already at the beginning, but I was like, there's no way, right? There's no way there's going to be a draw. And it ended up actually being a draw, so I guess I even surprised myself with it. Next map is going to be, seems like it's going to be Volskaya Industries. Doors already opening for the side of the attackers, which on the Wrecking Ball, on the Sigma, old composition, old meta that we saw before. Didn't work out last map, but can it work out this time?
Well, no surprise here. We're seeing Funkmaster on the Winston once again, taking a little bit of a heading there with frontal damage getting loaded on, but able to dive right back. Fluffy but deadly on this Wrecking Ball. We've seen them be quite the distraction before, and now they look to dislodge the supports. Can't quite get that Ana into the water like they wanted, but it already looks like University of Colorado still managing to maintain a firm hold on this fight. A couple members down. Flexecution now on the retreat, just trying to survive. Can't, though.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be possible in the defense. If they're able to hold for longer, the better it's going to be. Fluffy but deadly. In the meantime, it's going to be hiding, waiting for the team for the proper engagement to surprise, to be a little bit disruptive. Just waiting. Yep. There you go.
Creeping around as Wrecking Balls are wont to do, but Fluffy but deadly now going to be looking in. Takes an early shot by Ana. Has that health back to keep them healthy, though, as now we look around. They continue to just pivot their angles, not really trying to play with their team, not trying to do too much dislodging this time around, it seems. But once again, they're going to try to go up onto that high ground and take advantage of those supports that look so vulnerable. Flexecution eventually has to lose themselves off that high ground, and now things are still looking very good for Colorado. Haven't lost too much yet. In fact, we'll be investing the Nano.
Yeah, Transce's and Hannah trying to get a few kills here and play more aggressive, but so far there are none. And the defense keeps holding. We're good rotation that they're having, especially with the Senyata as well, the Discord Orb playing so aggressive here.
Yeah, and Seed barely getting saved by that Sigma barrier. Longmaster, however, not noticing the Zenyatta, who's a little bit lower, instead choosing to go for the Sigma. The Primal Rage getting popped, and this tank player continues to focus down the other tanks. Not sure that, given the amount of value we're just seeing Seed receive from those Orbs of Destruction, that is wise. It's going to be the Gravitic Flex coming online from Kelekil, able to take down the Winston. Cloud, however, pulling back too, despite the res coming through, and now Transcendence from Bird Boys, trying to keep anybody alive, and this is going back and forth. Now it's going to be Seed throwing in the Transcendence. No response from the Flux as the grab comes out, though.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be the cleanup. University of Colorado here. On the defense, they will be holding a few more kills. The Mercy getting taken down by Toxicon. Oh, well, the sleeve also coming through for the last kill of the fight, and with that 1 minute 30 for Wichita to have a proper attack. It was just, they had the momentum going, they were getting a few kills, but University of Colorado Cloud gets both of the DPS, and with that, there was nothing else they could have done.
Of all the members to be remaining standing from Colorado, given the amount of focus, was not expecting it to be the supports, but here they are, Illicit and Bird Boy still maintaining this high ground for the time being. Bird Boy's just trying to charge up those Zenyatta Destruction Orbs, and in the meantime, as Funkmaster continues to look for a proper dive target, Cloud gets taken down. This is a great opening for Wichita State, especially with that res coming through. This might be their biggest opportunity yet, Dryad.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be, once Cloud gets taken down, it seems like Wichita gets a momentum. That's exactly what's happening. Kills of Funkmaster taking down full execution, but overall kills coming through for Wichita. They might take this point.
The adaptive shield's just proving too strong from Fluffy but Deadly. Zarya not going to be able to do too much damage against it, and with that, retreat has to come through unless they just want to burn a few more seconds off, but Colorado's not going to be given that option.
Yeah, and the seconds are not really going to benefit University of Colorado when they want to make sure that they're ready for the next defense. 3 minutes, quite a lot of time for Wichita to take control. Ultimate economy not really there, but pretty soon they just need to win one fight. They have to play aggressive here to get those.
This is exactly what Wichita State wants to do here. Kelekil almost ready with another Gravitic Flex. See exactly how they want to go about it. They're going to throw it in as soon as they get it. Only catches the Zenyatta. However, the focus isn't quite there. Cloud barely getting saved. Has a sliver of health, about 50 to play with. Bird Boy's getting taken down, and Kelekil's the only one to drop for the side of Wichita State. Might be a good opportunity if Colorado can get the respawns back in as quickly as they need. That turret still up, still peppering in the damage, and now things might start turning around again if those respawns can come in fast enough, Dryad.
Oh, Diana's still alive. They need to take her down. There you go. The kill. Finally, but the Transcendence still though, trying to keep everyone alive from Colorado. Just trying to hold the defense. Already 2 takes that were lost.
Zenyatta throws in a Transcendence from both sides, but this time it's going to be the grab as well from Colorado right onto point, but everybody from Wichita State backs up for a brief moment. Sure, it gives a little bit of breathing room, but you don't find the grab kills, you don't find the damage. You waste that ult, and the fight's still going on. Now, Wichita State trying to lean in despite the fact that they just lost Fluffy but Deadly. At least that would be the case if Foxycon wasn't there to keep the team alive and healthy. Nobody able to touch. Colorado gives up that second point.
They were trying to get the kills, but it was only a matter of seconds of leaving that point. The guarantee that Wichita would take control of the second point. 2 minutes remaining for them, and now it is going to be University of Colorado that has to play aggressive. Their winning condition here is going to be getting that first point with a lot of time remaining for second. We saw a snowball that lasted a little bit longer, but at the end it was a single very long fight that came out to be effective. Wichita doing a really, really good job.
And we'll see if the University of Colorado will be able to kind of keep pace with Wichita State. We want to see them, at least if you're a fan of Colorado, you want to see them keep that 2 minute time marker in the bank at the end of this. But to do that, of course, you first have to capture the second point. That's going to be their ultimate goal here.
And a lot of teams usually they decide to when they're practicing, when they're going to those scrims, they wanna make sure that they're able to hold that second point. So that first point doesn't really get as much attention to have a full hold, and that's why there are many teams that are very well known for having that effective full hold here in Volskaya. It's very hard, but definitely possible here. Is going to be Wichita now in the defense, going to bring the Wrecking Ball again. And if University of Colorado doesn't bring this in yet again, that the Wrecking Ball is able to stay alive for a little bit longer because the Discord Orb was so disruptive for Wichita at the beginning.
And now it looks like University of Colorado going to be operating under a different set of constraints here. Looks like they may be going for a little bit of a dive style here. sans perhaps the Brig, perhaps to stop Fluffy from disrupting their movement in general as they would like. But immediately we see these tanks take presence on top of the bunker, immediately get knocked off by the Wrecking Ball, by the Sigma. And now Colorado looking to re-strategize to see where they can go. They have that Sombra to really scout out without the threat of being bursted down immediately, aside from perhaps a lucky shot or some scouting from heroes that aren't on the field. But now Colorado looking to size up their opponents, not really giving up too much space. We see Illicit trying to take to the skies, but not quite landing the shots.
Yeah, Illicit has been a really aggressive player so far, and it has paid off getting a few kills, but now they have to do it again and also keep the team alive as Funkmaster gets taken down. It seems like the attacking is not going to work out this time.
Certainly it will not. Ruby does take down Fluffy but Deadly, but unless they parlay this into a consistent fight. Nice kill from Illicit there, as I was saying. Unless they can really push forward with the kills, it's not going to count, but the respawn's not going to be allowed to come in time, as now they're starting to get some progress.
Yeah, they didn't have that Winston for a few seconds, but getting the kill into the Torbjorn, then also the Tracer flanking was effective. Now the duplicate coming through, turning into Brig.
A nice hack onto the Wrecking Ball allows Fluffy but Deadly to really get focused down, and Funkmaster tearing a swap here with that Tesla cannon. You like seeing that main tank play, the cleanup really coming through strong. And now it's just a little bit of an opportunity from Fluffy but Deadly, but one they're not going to be able to capitalize on too strong.
Funkmaster gets taken down on that last fight and then comes back ready for revenge, gets 3. Oh, the anti-nade also coming through, doesn't really get any, but now seems like University of Colorado, they're ready for the next fight.
University of Colorado still has a few ultimates in their pocket. Takes down the Zenyatta with a nice pulse mine coming in from Cloud. We saw him on McCree, but now we're seeing them on Tracer as well. Things are looking very good. University of Colorado already leading it with 2 kills and the rally to really parlay this into a victory. The Valkyrie coming out from Wichita State just trying to keep some sort of survival, but the nano boost is now online from Daddy D. Will they drop it? Have to play very carefully around this lava. They're getting closer and closer to that tick. The EMP goes out, making sure that those mines have no effect. The bomb lands from the Diva. Transcendence able to keep the Zenyatta alive, but very little else. Now the Doofus is going to be getting hacked. Everybody's getting torn up by Colorado.
Oh, there's nothing that they can do. Wichita, they're just getting taken down one by one. You hear the flux also. But how long can the Sigma stay alive? The Postums is going to be ready, thrown at the back, but it's not going to even be necessary. 4 minutes 18, University of Colorado. Really good job on the attacking side.
Yeah, we said University of Colorado needed to match Wichita. Well, they're looking to do a little bit better than just a match. They're getting the Zippo ladder, they're getting the butane and the propane for that match as well.
Yeah, they're getting so much more time, twice the time that Wichita got when we saw them first. And now, I just want to see how aggressive they want to play, because Wichita, the minute that they had that momentum going, they were able to keep it, but it took them a long time to do so. So it's a matter of how aggressive they want to play with this composition. University of Colorado, they seem to get the hang of it. The minute that they got that first point, they were already jumping into second.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing the stick-to-itiveness as well from Colorado. I mean, I was ready to call that first fight done and dusted in favor of Wichita State, but Fluffy but Deadly drops on that Wrecking Ball. Because of that, University of Colorado gets so aggressive. Looks real good.
Yeah, looking really good. And once again, the aggression is so important. Not only in the Assault maps, not only here in Borskaya, but in Overwatch in general, we always highlight how aggressive teams can be and how effective this is to winning every single fight. Now, once again, the defense is going to be University of Colorado. They have to defend the first point ideally for 2 minutes. That's going to guarantee that only 1 take is going to be necessary, but we're at least going to be seeing 4 rounds here.
We certainly might, well, we certainly will, as Funkmaster looking to levy themselves as that spearhead right towards the main entryway, ready to get some cleave damage. Daddy D's turret gets taken down rather immediately. No benefit from that turret if Execution has anything to say about it. We can already hear the echoes taking to the sky. Dynamite looking to rain down that spam damage. And we put a little bit of hurt on Colorado, making them have to reconsider their positioning, but speaking of positioning, we see Funkmaster hop right up onto that bunker. Again, a position that University of Colorado seems pretty fond of, pretty familiar with, and right now it looks like Wichita State don't have too much decision here, Dryad.
Yeah, a little bit risky as well to see the echo coming through, knowing that Cloud has been doing so good on the hit scan. And they haven't gotten any kills so far. They're just poking damage as you're trying to get those ultimates as soon as possible before being able to engage. But the time is running out. Already a minute has passed.
Now they need to be very careful as Wichita has a little bit easier of a time feeding over ultimate charge. A nice projected barrier coming in from the Zarya, keeping Funkmaster alive and allowing those kills to come through. Wichita State burned an entire minute to get nothing.
It just seems like they were trying to poke, but we never saw the proper engagement. That's exactly what we were mentioning before. It has to be that very effective aggression and engagement for it to be a fight that they can win easily. Which in the meantime, they are just trying to figure out the best way in. When there's only 30 seconds remaining, this is going to be difficult. They need the ultimate economy.
And already Kellic feeling the pressure on their shields, but Daddy D gets taken down by a nice set of cluster bombs. That means University of Colorado now man down. We'll see exactly how they respond here. Kellic close to that Gravitic Flux, but speaking of grab, it's going to be the Gravitic Surge coming online, locking it down to 3, and because of that, University of Colorado able to keep things relatively in their court. The High Noon coming online, the Zenyatta having to pop that Transcendence just to keep themselves alive, as well as the Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball takes down the Winston, can't get the McCree though. Cloud has to play very carefully until their team gets back.
But Daily going really low, getting taken down. Cloud with the flush. Oh, what?
Cloud has the power right now. Rolling the headshots, landing the flashbangs, having that resilience to focus down the Zenyatta and the Wrecking Ball. Well played there.
Wow.
Now it's in Colorado's court.
Oh, that was really good from Cloud at the end. It seems like that Zenyatta and the Wrecking Ball were about to get away with the point with at least a little bit of percentage, but that doesn't happen. And I was wondering that first 2 rounds, Cloud was getting a few kills, but it wasn't really a highlight. And I was wondering, where is Cloud? Where's the Cloud that we saw in the last match? Where the Cloud that we saw in Ilias? Now we're seeing it again. And that's really good now for Wichita. When we're going to be seeing the attack, for University of Colorado, when you see them now attacking, if Cloud is able to keep this momentum with the hit scans, with the DPS, with 4 minutes, that's more than enough than they need.
My question here becomes, will Wichita allow Fluffy but Deadly to die like they did the first time around? If so, it's over. University of Colorado takes it. But if they can guard Fluffy, they might stand a stronger chance than the first time around.
And going with Fluffy but Deadly on the Wrecking Ball is already risky by itself, because this Wrecking Ball is supposed to be working either alone or maybe a little bit with the Echo, but you're not getting that much support. So the minute that this Wrecking Ball gets taken down, even if you can go back to the field fast, it's only 33. They have to protect themselves and they have to play more passive.
Yeah, and you do not have a large margin of error when Daddy D and Bird Boys are in this game, ready for the hacks, ready for the shield bashes, ready for anything you might throw at them, not to mention the errant sleep dart. But already, once again, on top of the bunker go the tanks for University of Colorado, looking to get themselves lined up and already taking a decent positioning, causing Wichita to have to force either one side or the other of the bunker.
Yeah, we saw this long engagement happening for the side of Wichita on the attack, but now is the opportunity for University of Colorado to show us something different. And there you go, there's a dive right into point.
Yeah, and the turret gets taken down. Kellic getting bullied inside that bunker. As we see the Diva going up on too high, trying to focus down the Zenyatta, trying to focus down the supports, able to get the kill onto the Zenyatta. This is looking great for Wichita State. It's all over once that Wrecking Ball drops. In fact, they do. The 33% is achieved, and University of Colorado suddenly making this a 1-1 game.
Yeah, 1-1-1.
Yes.
Basically, when we see that, when you count the draw, so a lot of action for these two teams, and we actually predicted it was first loss for University of Colorado, then we saw a draw. Now they get the win.
Yeah, perfectly predicted, as every caster has always done forever, Dryad. We're just keeping the norm here. We're keeping it neutral. But speaking of some excellent performances, some predictions, perhaps Ruby throwing out that play of the game. Well done there, my friend. And all of a sudden, we got a tie game. We got a 3-way split between ties, losses, and wins for each of these teams. And definitely looking forward to seeing how this kind of storyline develops between these two, as we do know that Junkertown is going to be our next map.
Yeah, and anyone can win here. Ideally, we did see the first map going for the side of Wichita, and it was the control map. If this is something that Wichita is good at, those control maps, then University of Colorado has to win next map. They have to win Junkertown to guarantee that they get to match point. If not, then it's going to be a little bit easier if Wichita feel more comfortable on control maps. And this is something that a lot of teams discuss. They know that if any match goes to 5 maps, it's going to be 2 control maps. If you're good at this type of map, then that's going to be your winning condition. You're going to win. You only need to win 1 more. So like I said, Junkertown very, very important for University of Colorado to win.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to win this one, no matter which team you are. But I want to talk about the map itself here, Dry. You talk about Junkertown, and normally when you think of that first point at Junkertown, you think of those nice long files, and you think, oh, hey, that's a nice place to, snipe your opponent's head off with a Widowmaker, Alfonso, and Ashe. Do you think we see that based off what we see these teams run so far?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to be seeing the hits come from Cloud. It wouldn't make sense for them to run anything else. It's just working out perfectly. And with that, I'm not very sure about Widowmaker. I don't know how effective it can be for any of these two teams, knowing that they like to play more aggressive, either dive or they like playing more brawl, but not really so hits can dependent. The Hansel, we already saw it coming through for the teams, something that we can also expect. But it's just a matter of, if you are going to start the defense first, do you really want to commit to this Widowmaker, knowing that that's going to be your running condition to take control of the space? Or do you want to play something like a Tracer, be a little bit more disruptive? I think for the case of maybe Wichita, when they like playing this Wrecking Ball so much, they can benefit more from a Tracer even, rather than a Widowmaker, but I guess we have to see.
Yeah, and when you talk about the Wrecking Ball, of course, it kind of shifts the eyes towards their opponent, right? If you run that Widowmaker against a Wrecking Ball, it's going to be very hard. You're constantly getting displaced, pile-driven. You're having to readjust your position all the time. It makes it hard to land your shots more consistently. So definitely some considerations to be taken here from Colorado, given Colorado State's aggressiveness with that. However, before we do look too heavily into Junkertown, I'm getting word that we might have a few recaps just in case you missed any of the high-intensity action.
Yeah, some really good replays that we were able to get from that. And it's going to be Illicit, like I was saying. Such an aggressive player. I love the different playstyles that Anna can bring. And Illicit playing aggressive, getting those anti-nades, getting those kills. Really, really good job.
And of course, Cloud here coming in
so
to secure this defense for their team with the headshot onto the Tracer. Just nasty there. Cloud didn't need to do it to the Tracer, but they did. Sure enough, that Tracer was going to be buried 6 feet under by the end of the day.
Yeah, Cloud, definitely one of the biggest advantages that this team can take. I really expect to see it coming through with the McCree again. And I used to be more hesitant about seeing the McCrees coming through on the field when Ashe was meta before, Ashe and Mercy. But after Ashe got nerfed a little bit, not really getting that much value out of that duo with the Mercy, then the McCree coming through, getting a lot of value. Also, getting the stuns, that's so important for anyone, like we saw right at the end, and a stun that got into the Wrecking Ball that allowed for the team to put more damage. Really good idea, really good hero, especially when you're as good as Cloud.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk up Cloud a lot here, Dryad, but I think it's very well deserved. I mean, Cloud is just one of the most notable performing members of a team that operates very well together. I mean, University of Colorado, they've only just started winning their last map, but even until then, this was a team that we have been impressed with throughout this matchup.
Yeah, and it's because it's been so close. Even when they started having that disadvantage, and when we went to a draw, we knew that it was going to be a close match, and that's exactly what they're showing us. It's a matter of how much value they can get, and maybe even how much they want to enable the ZPS for success, which we saw happening before. We saw it in Ilios with the Lucio, with the Zarya coming through, protecting this McCree, and we might be seeing it again on the next map.
Yeah, and I mean, you really raise a good point there. I didn't quite put the pieces together, but in a lot of the highlights we've seen with Cloud, you'll see the Winston barrier go down just to protect that McCree. We saw it in Volskaya. We saw it on Ilios. So really, it seems like Colorado knows where their bread is buttered on that. Sometimes they have a little bit of difficulty if they're running something like a dive. It didn't quite seem to gel as much, not as many high-intensity plays as we saw with that McCree, but still, Cloud on the Tracer, on the McCree, it still seems like a very reliable source that I definitely can't blame Colorado for leaning on.
Yeah, definitely, and it's just a matter of really waiting to see what they want to bring. I really don't think we can expect any crazy composition from these two teams, because they do feel really comfortable, and the few mistakes that we see here and there is not a matter of a compositional difference, but a matter of how much and who was able to engage first. We saw the biggest mistake from Wichita when they went in that third round, when they went to attack, and they just never jump into point. They never jump into the high ground. They never went to any of the two sides that you can take, and a lot of time was consumed by that. Really good mistake that was fixed by then for the side of University of Colorado, having that first engagement, the Winston waiting for all the abilities, right on, jumping into points, supported by Diva, supported by Mercury. And those are the mistakes that I like seeing getting fixed throughout every match.
And you raise a nice topic that I like to talk about here, Drive, but we're talking about mistakes that have been fixed. Do you think that the Colorado team has started adapting to that wrecking ball more? Because it feels like Wichita's not getting as much punch out of the wrecking ball as they did on Blizzard World, where they caused a lot of that disruption, a lot of that mayhem. Do you think that's more so just it not being inclined to Volskaya, or Colorado perhaps getting a bit more savvy?
I just don't think it's easy to get away with a wrecking ball, just because of how complicated it is to play. This is a hero that requires you to be really good at knowing pretty much everything that's going on. You have to be disruptive, you have to go into the backline, but you also have to make sure that when you do that, when you're being disruptive, you're not going to get taken down, because any stun and that Discord aura can be enough to kill you. So it's a situation where that communication, that's what I was saying, like flanking with your team, with your Tracer, with your Echo, might be enough. But for University of Colorado, I would opt for another tank, especially as we go into another maps. They do need the protection, maybe of a shield. We might even see the Reinhardt. The Orisa got a buff recently, so something that they can also bring to the table.
Now, we've seen teams already kind of preparing themselves to play with these changes. We've heard about those Reaper changes going into effect from William and Mary last game. They're leaning onto that a little bit more. So maybe Wichita State takes a page from that book, from the patch notes, and adapts their style, maybe leans on something like that, Orisa. I definitely don't mind it.
Yeah, and in the Orisa, I think it can definitely work, but it's very... like we said before, it just depends on how aggressive you want to play with your team and what exactly the purpose of the Orisa is going to be. Is it going to be to try to hold the high ground on that first point here in Junkertown? Is it going to be, trying to get the ultimate, trying to push forward, knowing that this ultimate is so strong? So many possibilities. That's why playing this Orisa can be maybe something to consider twice, but seems like for the defenders as well, we might be seeing this Orisa double shield, but a lot of it's just an interesting double shield, right? Because we're used to seeing now maybe the Orisa and the Sigma, but now it's going to be the Reinhardt and the Orisa.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily say I blame the thinking behind this composition, right? If you know that there's a high probability for snipers, you want as many shields up to block your team's heads from those lines of sight. We'll see if Wichita State can use it to maximum effect, though, as these gates are opening up, and it looks like Wichita looking to take a very aggressive fight early on. Funkmaster getting walled off, frozen down, and it looks like they're not going to want the cart to move at all.
Yeah, they're going to hold this really close. I really love seeing this, especially with a Mary wall. This is the best way to protect themselves, to try to stay alive, and to also disengage if they really need to. But so far, Wichita, they are going to be holding as close as possible. And now Cloud going for the Pharah.
This is a look I like, but we'll see if University of Colorado will end up finding the value with it. That Pharah able to play from far away. An anti-nade on the Dynamite forces the Wraith form out to allow them to cleanse themselves. May now getting taken down, eliminates a lot of that terrain editor. Dynamite getting booped into the team of Colorado. Might have been a bit of a mistake there, as now we see that Reaper going toe-to-toe with Daddy D, looking to clean up here. And so far, Wichita State looking very dominant, starting to get a few remaining cleans, but they have suffered a few losses on their end, and now it looks like University of Colorado is breaking that.
I mean, they were able to delay a minute of the push. So for Wichita, I don't think they were still expecting to full hold them here, but they were definitely expecting to delay the push, which is exactly what happened. And now they can come back, they can have another fight here. They're changing the heroes again. Good idea from them. It was just a matter of trying to delay the time as much as possible. Now Seed is going to be a Designated, one of my favorite picks on this map. And University of Colorado passing this corner, they might have the momentum going on.
And of course, we see Fluffy but Deadly coming back on that wrecking ball, but we'll see if they can get properly dealt with. Daddy D getting taken down by a headshot from Flexecution means that wrecking ball can roll a little bit more freely. The res coming through from the Mercy gets stunned by the Accretion, but gets the res onto the Reaper, eventually pops the Valkyrie right after that, and Flexecution just teaches Daddy D the same lesson once over. Flexecution then finding the other DPS, and right now it looks like University of Colorado have to stop here and regain their bearings.
Yeah, University of Colorado was forced out of that composition that they had at the beginning to try to push forward to try to start moving the payload. Now that they did, and they even used a few ultimates, they can go back. Cloud is going to be on the Ash, RG is going to be now on the hand, so those two DPS are going to depend a lot on them to try to get those kills and to push the ultimate economy. Bob for Dynamite is going to be ready as well.
A huge heat coming from Kellic Gill, allowing that grab to not land. However, it's the big slam coming in from University of Colorado that allows the regroup coming in, the kills rather to come in. Kellic Gill going to be one of the remaining members. Bob focusing down that Reinhardt shield, not going to be able to do much as he's just going to eventually fly away. Wrecking Ball trying to be a disruption, but takes a quick nap and then puts in dirt.
This is going to be, it seems like the point going for the side of University of Colorado on the attack. Wichita, they do have a few ultimates, but they just didn't have the positioning to try to re-engage here. They did consume a lot of time, but now the biggest challenge is going to try to hold this second point. It might not be easy, but they need to hold this high ground until the end.
And a quick response from Daddy D onto that Wrecking Ball, Fluffy but Deadly. Perhaps diving a little bit too towards that Hanzo. However, the Hanzo diving into the mines may not have been the best decision, but Daddy D has to live with the consequences. And Funkmaster actually jumping to the health kit before Fluffy but Deadly ensures that Wrecking Ball can drop a crucial opportunity there. And now it's going to be the Hanzo from the defense trying to survive on cart, but eventually the cart will start to make way. At least that will be the plan if that high ground can get cleared off Dryad.
Yeah, it's going to be that dive again happening. The Winston is trying to push that out the economy as well. The Sigma not in the best position and gets taken out immediately. University of Colorado, they will be pushing forward their west as well, trying to keep the Hanzo alive. And with that, it seems like Wichita, they're losing their momentum.
Foxycon had the Valkyrie up, but the tracking just too strong from a Ruby, continuing to cut down anybody in the path with that Zarya laser. Looking so good, and Ruby gets to hold on to that grab.
Ruby has some really good highlights, and I love seeing this. The Graviton is going to be ready. Cloud is also going to have the bomb out there. It seems like for Wichita, they want to try to re-engage here, but I don't know how effective it can be.
Yeah, they tried to get the Wrecking Ball right on the point, but the Coach Gun coming in from the Ash is going to say, no, you shall not pass. And with this, it's going to be Ruby holding the small hallway, allowing that card to get nicely delivered into the second.
Ultimate Economy looking really good as well. Ruby now pushing forward. This Zarya definitely feeling good at playing this hero. Wichita, they just have to regroup. They have to re-engage. There's a lot of time remaining as well for the attackers.
And it's going to be a nice projected barrier from Ruby, allowing their Mercy to stay alive for just a little bit longer. Seed, who was taken out by a nasty headshot, doesn't get res. The reinforcements not there from Boulder to really get themselves, and Kellic Gill taking advantage of perhaps Ruby's cocksuredness.
Yeah, maybe just not in the best positioning there, not getting the support needed. But now University of Colorado, Primal Rage coming through as well. They're committed to this fight.
Execution trying to avoid that high ground and taken down by Illicit. We never happen to see these aim down sights, but Illicit proving to be the more proficient sniper there as that cart looking to round the final bend.
Yeah, and in the meantime, it was the support on the payload. Just trying to keep it moving. There's a lot of time remaining as well. The Garbage Church for Ruby is going to be ready, but first they have to deal with the Flux.
The Flux does get dropped. Not too much damage from it, but instead from Fluffy but Deadly, who's quick on the follow-up. Colorado just has to back up, try to regroup. This ain't going to be the push for them, but they still have 2 minutes.
Fluffy but Deadly getting 2 now. I mean, getting 4 now, getting 5 with a minefield. And then finally, the payload that stop is moving, at least for this fight. The next fight is going to be really, really important for University of Colorado with the Graviton Surge. You can also initiate with the Valkyrie, with the Nano. There's going to be enough to get at least a few kills, have the momentum going for them. They just have to avoid Dynamite's bomb.
Oh, Kellic Gill brought dangerously low. It's forcing out the Valkyrie from Foxycon. You have to keep that Sigma alive if you want any chance of having a solid front line. Fluffy but Deadly taking a little bit of a nap. That Wrecking Ball staying asleep, effectively like putting him into the ground, putting him in the dirt. Brought dangerously low, can't get healed, but looks like Colorado not going to take this opportunity. Instead, they opt for a slow rotation through the safety of the enclosed space within. And now we'll see exactly what their pathing decides to be as the Mercy and the Ash try to regroup.
Oh. And the Valkyrie was also used for University of Colorado, not really getting any value, not really having that engagement that they wanted to. And now, Wichita, they're just going to take them down.
And Daddy D, the best they can do at this point is trying to build up those dragons for the next fight. That will be a huge benefit for them, but doesn't look like they can do too much as there's only a minute left.
I'm a little bit concerned as well for Ruby. We saw a really good performance from this player, but now the Graviton, we haven't seen it yet.
And the arrogance coming through from Wichita State weren't quite able to land the kill onto the Mercy. Bird Boys not going to get staggered out by the skin of their teeth. Wow. As now we look ahead, Dynamite taking this high ground up once again. Has the opportunity for Bob here, raining in some Dynamite with the headshot on to Cloud. It's now Bird Boys getting the res here, and a lot of ultimates online for Colorado as the ultimates engage.
Yeah, there you go. Finally, Graviton Surge coming through, and it's going to be that Transcendence trying to keep everyone alive, but the kills have to come through for the attackers.
And another eat comes through from the kinetic grasp. Cloud, however, throwing in Bob proves to be deadly efficient. Bob now coming in from the side of Dynamite. Not as effective. The big bubble shield coming online, and Kellic Gil going to be throwing in the Reinhardt, trying to get any sort of shielding, any sort of major damage tanking capabilities that can happen. It's going to have to be Funkmaster trying to bully their way from this tank, but the Immortality Field keeping them alive for the time being means they can drop their shield and get a few more swings, and Execution on Dismay, trying to make anything happen. Can they, Dryad?
I mean, it's not going to be easy. This Wrecking Ball needs to get taken down early, but Dynamite coming back, taking down Illicit. No Ana heals for the next fight. Cloud getting those last kills. It seems like they will be getting this payload. No one else from Wichita is able to touch. In overtime, University of Colorado finally regaining that control.
University of Colorado looking a little bit tough there on that third point, but they're able to bring it through. They're able to adapt and finally wrap around. But for a minute there, it looked like Dynamite may have been the better Ashe.
No, yeah, it was really good as well from this Ashe, and it was that positioning benefiting them a lot. They also have the spawn advantage. University of Colorado, every time they got taken down, they had to go the way back. And as they were going back, especially because of how this map works, it made it even more difficult for them to do it without getting any kills on their way out. So University of Colorado, it was really good for them to be able to finish it, but I think that they laid a few ultimates. I was saying Ruby died 3 times before being able to use that Graviton Surge. And in those 3 fights, they could have built even another one. So that's one of the winning conditions I had from the beginning. Because of that, it went to overtime, but at least they're thankful they were able to get the point.
Yeah, you're certainly going to be thankful for anything you can get. And now Colorado looking like they're leaning in for a very forward hold of their own. We see them tiptoeing across that.
Trying to be quiet here so that Wichita doesn't really find him. Let's see how effective this one can be. Last that we saw from the side of Wichita, it was a minute, but I think they saw them. I see the Bastion and the Junkrat from Wichita.
Yeah, and immediately the response is appropriate from Wichita. A lot of damage going through from all the members, or to all the members of Wichita, as that Bastion looking to get set up, just tucked into the corner. The Sigma kind of caught out on his own, however, as the Reaper continues to close in on him. That health steal going to be so vital there. Daddy D eventually just choosing to back out. Dynamite taking down Funkmaster, and the Immortality Field keeping everybody alive. It looks like Wichita had this number.
Dynamite getting 3 kills, and finally it seems like they will be able to move the payload soon. Everyone from the side of University of Colorado getting taken down. Another kill for Dynamite. They delayed it for 40 seconds. Not quite a minute, but close enough.
And now, if you're University of Colorado, you might not know that Bastion already has tank configuration online. That's going to hurt.
Oh yeah, this is definitely something that they want to keep now. Try to get a few more kills in University of Colorado. They are going to try to have the same scenario that we saw before, but it has to be effective. No ultimates for them. When this Bastion is playing so aggressive, it's not going to be easy to pass through.
Foxicon taken down. This gives a good opportunity. No res available. Means that Dynamite has to kind of play safe, make sure they don't drop. Otherwise, it's going to be a difficult task to get regrouped with their team. Have to back out while repairing themselves. Cloud takes down Fluffy but Deadly as well. Wichita put on the back foot, but not taken out of the fight just quite yet.
The Bastion's still alive. Any sort of positioning that they're able to get here is going to be detrimental for the side of University of Colorado, trying to hold this defense. And finally, the Payload is able to stop in a really good position. They get the corner.
And the Gravitic Flux focuses the Mercy with the projected barrier. Well placed from Ruby. Not quite able to take down that Mercy as you need. Seed now throwing in the Amplification Matrix. Brings down 2 members from the defending team. And suddenly this is looking good once again for Wichita.
he is such a good like support, and when we see him on the Zenyatta, when we see it on the Baptiste getting those kills, taking down Cloud, and with that Wichita, they will be taking this point. It seems like for the side of University of Colorado, they don't want to recontest this point. They rather have their ultimate economy benefiting them. They don't want to feed those ultimates to Wichita anymore, especially when they have a lot of time, over 4 minutes now.
Quite a bit of time in the pocket for Wichita. We'll see exactly how Colorado tries to deal with this Ruby. So very close to that grab, as well the Earth Shatter. A lot that can disrupt that Bastion. Question is, will it? It looks like University of Colorado really focusing on this high ground, but I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with it. Kill Execution is a great start to that plan. The Earth Shatter goes in from the top turnbuckle, and with that, now Dynamite taking down the res onto Ruby, ensures that Zarya going to stay in the fight, or at least be able to stay in for just a little bit longer and keep that ult charge up.
Good amplification matrix created the space necessary, and also taking down Dynamite. That's such a key part into winning the fight. Dynamite, once again, is going to have the ultimate, but we didn't see it being as effective before. Now, this is where I would offer another hero, maybe, knowing that University of Colorado is already expecting this Bastion. But they can still have the possibility to get a few kills, or if not, then that's when they have to make a few changes.
Kelligill going down means that Ruby has an easy grab dragon combination. A lot of ultimates being invested here from Colorado. Not a huge fan, but you can't argue with a board like that.
Wow, 5 kills. Now make it 6 for this Hanzo on University of Colorado. Those dragons, it was just a matter of taking down the immortality field and then getting those kills. Really close space, and there was nothing that Wichita could have done there in the attack. They will be trying this again.
Yeah, the amplification field coming out immediately, and Dynamite just going to be able to throw bullets like a hose through that amplification field. The res comes out onto Daddy D. The Valkyrie coming out from Bird Boys makes it hard for Dynamite to really land those shots, those shells. A little bit slower moving than you might be used to, and Colorado has no ultimates to respond with of their own. Execution looking ready to line up some dragons. Throws them out, but the Gravitic Flux locks everybody down, prevents them from getting too far ahead of themselves. And all of a sudden, Colorado still looking very good, at least not if Fluffy but Deadly has anything to say about it.
Fluffy but Deadly coming through, getting this final kills as well, and finally enabling Wichita to start moving that payload again. 2 minutes still to get the second checkpoint, and they're looking pretty good. Ultimate economy not quite there, but they can initiate with the Valkyrie, then play more aggressive, not really allow University of Colorado to have any sort of space here, knowing that the minute that they have the space, they don't let it go.
Colorado definitely trying to hold firm onto what little realm of area they have left on this streets phase, on this inner phase of Junkertown. Somebody needs to get on the cart though and contest. It's gonna be Fluffy but Deadly, who's taking a lot of beating here. Their shield gonna be coming under siege. That Bastion on the high ground gets taken down by Illicit. Foxycon has to dedicate a lot of their healing resources just to getting that res online. Eventually they do, but the question is, will Dynamite pay in kind with their life? The shield coming up right in front. Bob gonna be hopping in, making sure that that cart can't be touched. And right now, Dynamite looking to put a lot of hurt down. Wichita State, however, lost a bit of time.
Finally, they're able to get the second checkpoint in Wichita. They're looking to get the third as well. And even if they're able to get it with a little bit more time, because knowing the University of Colorado took it to overtime, then that's one of the winning conditions. Dynamite's still coming to this Bastion. They want to take control of the high ground. But once again, University of Colorado, this is something that they're expecting already. Gets dropped. Well,
yeah, that is very good gatekeeping by Bird Boys. Getting that Bastion off the high ground is exactly what you need. You can't let them be on that rotating platform at all if you want any chance of survival here. And that Reinhardt taking quite a wailing. The Immortality Field is going to be coming out for both sides. Execution taken down in exchange for Cloud. Now the Bastion is set up, and the Dragons come through. Daddy D going to be taken down for no grab needed this time.
That's a really good angle for the Dragons. Takes everyone down. And they weren't even expecting it to connect that way. There was no way for them to run away from the set of Wichita. And because of that, they have to regain their space. The University of Colorado is taking over and over again. Cloud and also Daddy D has done such an amazing job so far with the DPS. They have to keep it going.
Yeah, fortunately for the side of Colorado, you have the opportunity to lose a few fights. You have a minute 15, so if you make them take long, it's really going to start to put the pressure on. Amplification field comes online. Foxycon taken down. Ruby able to get a health kit, throws the grab onto the point, but the question is, will it be enough? Daddy D takes down Flexecution, says it just might be. That echo high into the sky gets plucked out by Illicit, and with this, Colorado looking good, but they need to stabilize a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely have to do that with only a minute remaining. And finally, Paler seems to be moving again. Good opportunity for the side of Wichita. But Kikuchi does have the Dragons again, trying to get more value out of it, trying to get the same value Daddy did before.
Ooh, and Killakill eating a bullet, or eating an arrow rather, from Daddy D. It looks like that might have just done it for this push. Colorado already looking very strong. Funkmaster trying to get out.
Only 30 seconds, one less fight territory. Wichita, will they be able to get that third point, even if it goes to overtime? Or is it going to be impossible? We were about to see this. The Hanzo about to have once again the Dragons, and can he get more kills like we saw before? We saw a 6K, we saw a 2K. Now, Flexecution on the other side, trying to prove the Hanzo. Who is the better one here?
Oh, no Dragon's going to be available for Daddy D until they roll right back out of respawn. Cloud now going to be going on to that Tracer. It's suddenly looking like Colorado panicking a little bit. They just need to back up, regroup. They have the opportunity for a solid fight.
Yeah, and it's going to be the tanks creating as much space as possible for so the Palu is able to move. But over time, there's a long way to go. Still, for the Palu, the Dragons, they have to be effective this time, and the duplicate as well.
Dragons are going to go right onto point, and the mines are going to be capable to come out from Fluffy but Deadly, and in fact, they get dropped right onto the point. Scatter everybody to where the pile driver doesn't really receive a whole lot of benefit. It's the Primal Rage now coming out, swatting anybody they can, but it looks like the Mercy ran headfirst into a mine. Now, as we look ahead, University of Colorado just trying to get any sort of kills, any sort of momentum they can. The Diva Bomb comes in, claims two, and the D-Mech. That may have turned things around. Ruby might have saved the life of this team. Dynamite, however, continues to fight tooth and nail, not letting things get away from them.
Oh, Dynamite trying to stay alive, but it seems like it's going to be enough. Immortality as well, trying to guarantee the protection. And is going to be University of Colorado guaranteeing this win.
Yeah, University of Colorado now put themselves in a very good spot, but it wasn't quite that landslide win that we were expecting based off of momentum here, Dryad. It was still very close.
Oh, it was very close. We saw the Bastion coming through. We saw a lot of interesting picks. This was insane.
Yeah, the full board, the full flight, if you prefer. It was brilliant coming through there. The coordination that we've expected to see throughout this entire game with the Zarya and the Hanzos finally comes to fruition.
Yeah, it feels like it's so rare to see a 6 double kill in Overwatch. So we see 5, and that's like, wow, that's crazy. But seeing 6 really shows that the support that the team is able to get, that Graviton connecting really well. Also, the rest of the team guaranteeing that the Immortality field went down just for these Dragons to get value. And especially in that really close space that they couldn't run anywhere.
Yeah, it was looking very good. I'm definitely excited to see Colorado kind of come back into form here. Wichita State tried to show a little bit of flex, but I think that the Bastion just was not a long-term viable strategy. I would have liked to see Dynamite stay on that Ashe. I think they are holding their own against Cloud very well. I think if they go into that defense with that same performance, things might look a little different.
Yeah, but something to highlight, and we say it over and over again, is how close this is. Anyone could have taken it. It's just a matter of those mistakes that happen, especially in that third point, just because of how complicated it is to take control of the high ground when you have the Winston jumping, that Diva jumping. There are so many factors, that the Echo as well putting a lot of pressure. And that is what really made the difference, how much time was delayed for the side of the attackers to be able to get out their checkpoint.
Exactly, and with Fury that aggressive, Dryad, we do have a few replays to kind of thumb through, go over, see if we can recap any major plays coming through for these teams. I'm sure there's going to be a lot. Of course, we can always talk about the grab. Ruby, I loved this moment. The tracking on the Foxycon during that Valve is so crucial.
Yeah, Ruby, it seems like every time that I see this player get some really good highlights just out of tracking with Zarya, which is definitely not easy, but one of my favorite things to see. Oh, this was really good as well from Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, Dynamite did really well here. Again, I'm not sure the Bastion was the right call, but they certainly still made it work fairly well for them. Came down to inches there at the very end, but there's only so much you can do once you have to start getting those respawns in.
It just becomes a matter of how much you're expecting the Bastion again, because when you see it at the beginning, it might catch you by surprise. You might be able to win the fight there, but after a while, when you don't have it, this is something that the enemy is going to be expecting. They can better prepare for the Bastion and not let it settle.
Yeah, and as we kind of saw, it did look like University of Colorado were getting a little bit more comfortable with how to fight that. I mean, they tried that very aggressive forward hold that I don't believe we got too much replay of, but still, they tried that very aggressive forward hold that Colorado just had their number for. I mean, excuse me, Wichita had their number for. They did not let it go the way that Colorado wanted it to, but they were certainly able to adapt and eventually overcome.
Yeah, definitely. And this map was just, I think that the map where we're seeing the most highlights of it was very, very intense just because of how close it was. And Junkertown just played right into the strategies of both teams, but University of Colorado is going to be the one taking the advantage, taking us to match point, and they only need one more to win.
And we will be needing, well, rather Colorado will only be needing one more. And you talked about it before, Drav. We're going to be going on to that control. I'm just getting word now that it will be Busan that we're going to be seeing. And Wichita State, they did well on control before, so maybe they equalize the score here and have to bring it to a game 6.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the possibilities. I think just because of how close these two teams are, we can bring the possibility of bringing it as close as possible. We've seen already 4 maps. It is 2-1. Every single map has taken us to the distance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it feels like, oh, that was the most intense map, right? Ilios, oh, it went 3 rounds. We don't normally see that. That's pretty good. All right, then we go to Volskaya. Oh, we're going multiple rounds in Volskaya. Oh, then we're going 3 points on Junkertown with only a couple meters separating these teams in overtime each. It gets nuttier and nuttier. I don't know how we can top that on Busan because, again, the best we can see is, the full 3. But I based on the way these teams are playing, I'm not going to complain. I love seeing these games.
Oh, I absolutely love seeing it. I'm just excited to see what they're going to bring. If they're going to also bring us to a 2-2, which might be one of the possibilities in which that, like I said, they did win that first control map, so that might be their winning condition here. That might be their advantage. They might prepare those control maps more, just knowing how important they can be. And for University of Colorado, just the minute that Cloud gets that momentum going, as well as that ED, they seem unstoppable, so they need to keep it going.
And if you're asking me, I like downtown for Fluffy but deadly. This Wrecking Ball has that giant pillar around the center to play. Can also get easily access onto those high grounds. See exactly how Colorado start around this, and already we're seeing a lot of damage being dealt. Daddy D has to play very carefully out of the sky until they can get some healing. But Cloud taking down Flexecution's a good start. That Winston continues to dive onto the supports, really put hurt onto that Lucio.
Yeah, already getting that first kill. This is going to be really good. That break getting taken down by University of Colorado. They don't have those heals. And with that, Wichita might be having this momentum. They're getting the kills. They will be taking that first percentage, it seems like.
Oh, but Funkmaster looking to try to change things up just a little bit. Continues trying to focus on those supports, but it looks like Wichita State's been taking notes. There are supports avoiding that Winston.
And it's such a risky thing to do, but Dynamite already showing a big difference. Daddy only having the 30 percentage, deciding to change out for the Sombra, and Dynamite already having a duplicate to use at any point. They can initiate with the Spy, and they can even turn into the Winston as well, pushing the support line for the University of Colorado.
Yeah, you have to think if you're playing Dynamite that the best option you have is that Winston. Not much else going to buy you that quick ultimate and that benefit that a Winston Primal Rage will. But Dynamite gets hit by the train. Oh, you hate to see it. No duplicate in this fight, at least not until Dynamite takes the long walk back. Boxicon taken down by a Venom Mine, and just like that, University of Colorado started off a little bit weak, but thanks to a blunder, they're back in.
Oh, it was just that train. What? Dynamite could have used the ultimate, could have kept their team from holding the point, but then it just didn't happen. University of Colorado now, they are having the 12%. They're going to get more. Daddy D needs that EMP as soon as possible, taking a little bit of damage. They're still managing to stay alive, and that's all that matters here.
Cloud not able to land these far-off shots that they absolutely need to if you're focusing down that aerial target. But Fluffy but Deadly going to be pulling the teeth from University of Colorado as both the DPS are taken down. Make it a third as Bird Boys gets knocked off the map. Primal Rage just trying to come out from Funkmaster, trying to cause any sort of disruption. And it will be buying them a little bit of time, but the question is that time are really going to come down to matter too much. Although they do bring out the sound barrier, that is a great opportunity and a great drainage of resources.
Wichita, they get their momentum back. They will be taking their point back. They don't want to give it to University of Colorado anymore. And still, the ultimate economy that Wichita they have right now is going to be enough for them to hold. But now they just need to make sure they don't get hit by a train, right?
Well, we'll see. The better laid plans have often gone to waste. Their Dryad is going to be Wichita State throwing in a lot of ultimates. I count 4 on my fingers here as we see now them sure to win the fight. But the question is, it was very costly.
They want to guarantee that they're able to get to the 80% at least, and I do respect the decision. A lot of ultimates that were used, but now they can still initiate with the duplicate. They still have the Valkyrie to be used in the University of Colorado. Even if they have the EMP, the winning condition here is trying to have the tanks avoided as much as possible. But yep, there's a lot of things that can happen in the meantime.
Lovely but Deadly scrolling right by that translocator, not seeming to notice it. University of Colorado there does throw out the grab. However, a lot of members are very low. They have to be very careful. Fluffy but Deadly getting stunned out, hacked out, but able to fight their way out of it. And right now, it doesn't even look like things are going definitely in the favor of University of Colorado. They're going to get the point flip, but will they be able to maintain?
Well, they do have the EMP for next fight on the side of University of Colorado. They also have the Riley, so if there are good ultimates to initiate a fight, those two are definitely the ones that you mentioned every single time. Wichita, we did mention that they use a lot of ultimates last fight, and they just didn't have them now. Foxycon even decided to save that Valkyrie, so now it's just a matter of trying to either build them or trying to play aggressive, overwhelm, and even try to take down the Sombra.
And we see Cloud using that Empress sight to try to scout out anything, get an early advantage. Daddy D creeping out behind the opposing team. Doesn't look to use their EMP2 immediately. Takes down the Lucio though. Seed not going to be able to build up that sound barrier. And things looking very good. The Rally and the Nano both used though.
This is getting really, really close to the 99-99 that we saw in Ilias, and it really seems like it's going to happen again. One less fight territory, no matter who's going to take it. Daddy D saving that EMP for this last fight might be detrimental for Wichita. No matter what ultimates they have, that EMP is going to cancel all of them.
And the turret going to be placed off the side near the train tracks. The EMP dropped big, lands onto 3 members. It's going to have to be the Tortborn trying to jump around, avoid anything they can, but Daddy D actually gets an amazing hack off onto the Wrecking Ball, not able to escape there, but Wrecking Ball still able to survive for the time being, break that line of sight. And University of Colorado has to try to throw out everything that they have in their books. Ruby takes down Flexecution, not able to stay alive long enough to bring up the grab, though point going to eventually be flipping over to Wichita as Cloud dives on the point to try to make it last.
Wichita, they do take control of the point, but now they have to hold it until the 100%. No one needs to touch University of Colorado. They're getting taken down one by one. And with that, first advantage, Wichita, they're looking to take this control point again.
They certainly are. They're starting off strong on downtown, but that being said, that is one of the maps I favor a little bit more for Wrecking Ball. We'll see if University of Colorado can perhaps put the lid on it as we move towards Sanctuary.
Sanctuary is also very interesting to see just because of how where this map is in terms of where you want to take it fight. Do you really want to take it in point? Do you want to take it on one of the sides? And how detrimental it can be if the supports are not there to heal you, because we see a lot of the Winston diving, and a lot of the cases there's a lot of protections on this map that don't really allow for the heals to come through. So that communication going to be key now for these two teams, knowing that also the compositions look very different. There's going to be Wrecking Ball and Diva and Wichita, and for University of Colorado is going to be that Saria and that Winston coming through.
As well, Cloud on the Soldier, no longer with the Widowmaker. I can't say I disagree with this. Cloud might be looking a little bit better than they did on those longer range scans, but a little bit more mid-range. Probably be a little bit more comfortable as well. Lucky but Deadly immediately going in for a pile driver, building up a decent amount of ult charge to try to get themselves beefed up and in a decent position. Kellikill, however, getting D-Mech, perhaps staying in a bit too long as that Diva.
And the first kills are going to come through for University of Colorado. Ruby looking to get another one of those highlights, gets 2 kills, and now the percentage is about to go for the side of this university. Wichita, in the meantime, they're getting taken down one by one. This is going to be a regroup from them.
It certainly will. However, if you're a fan of Wichita, you got to look forward to the fact that neither side has really had an opportunity to build up too many ults. Daddy D, sure, going to have that EMP soon, but you're going to have to give away their position, regroup with their team, and really try to coordinate. You might be able to put enough pressure on to not let that happen.
Yeah, it's not going to be soon enough, it seems like, for that EMP. They might get it before the fight, but even then, Wichita, they have a lot of opportunities to avoid it. Now, a lot of changes coming through for Wichita that might give them the speed that they need. That Lucia coming through, Foxycon just trying to speed it up here.
We're actually seeing a tank switch come in from Wichita. It's going to be Ruby taken down early on. Funkmaster getting a nice little nano boost, a shot of life there, and then popping the Primal. A lot of kills coming through. Fluffy but Deadly as well, getting hacked. Gonna be Bird Boys walking into the brunt end of a hammer, but with that, it looks like still University of Colorado is going to hold as the bully tries to go out onto that 4-torp.
Bird Boys does get taken down, but that's not really going to affect University of Colorado very much, as finally they're able to build that EMP, and that's going to be the winning condition now. I don't know how long they want to save it though. Last time that we saw this, they decided to save it until that last fight, and they might be looking to do this again unless the engagement is ready.
If they're lucky enough, maybe Dynamite will kill themselves on the Echo once again. However, they're not going to risk it. They're just going to throw in the EMP. Immortality Field comes out, saves the entirety of the team, and the push not really there. Cloud going to be throwing an attack visor, but the shield coming in from all these tank players on Wichita State just allows them to maintain health, keep their wits about them for the time being. An anti-nade on the Fluffy but Deadly makes them have to go on a little bit on the defensive of their own. However, it looks like Wichita State able to win this fight without throwing in too many ultimates.
Oh, and the Reinhardt from Wichita going really low, but managing to stay alive. This double shield is very weird. Double shield type position. Finally able to take control of the situation, but it's already 91% for University of Colorado. They only need to win one fight, and they're about to get that Graviton Surge. Now, Wichita, I want to see them playing aggressive here. They need to win this point. If they want to get it, they need to pass at least at 70%.
We'll see if they can make it happen. They have that turret located off into the side, but it's not going to be able to stand for as long as they'd like. That turbocharger goes down and immediately gets torn. Foxycon, however, gets taken down as well. The grab landing big as the duplicate comes through. It's going to be the Soldier 76 trying to build up the tack. Visor does find some success there, gets two with it, and now it's all going to be clean up, it looks, for the side of Wichita. Duplicate is going to end. The nano boost invested on the Winston and the Primal, maybe a bit late in this fight.
Oh, it seems like it's going to be way too late for them Winston to try to do anything. Everyone else from University of Colorado was already taken down, and with that, Funkmaster being forced to go all the way back, definitely changing that. Now going more to the Brawl style is going to be the Reinhardt, it's going to be the Zarya for University of Colorado, trying to win this fight, trying to take control of the point back. Wichita, they did use quite a lot of ultimates though, so maybe a big opportunity for the re-engagement here.
We're going to be seeing the Amplification Matrix come out from Seed. A lot of damage is going to get thrown into the face of Colorado. Funkmaster having to keep that shield up, having to be very cautious. But Dynamite going to take advantage of their weakness there, bring them down. No spearhead now for the side of University of Colorado. We're getting dangerously close to that last fight territories. University of Colorado has to take a step back and regather their wits.
80% already, and this could be a one last fight for whatever team is able to get the point at the end. Is going to pass the 90, is going to push that 91%. More importantly, that University of Colorado had at the beginning, which that they need to stay on point now.
We'll see exactly how this fight breaks down. It's going to be the attack visor coming in from Cloud. Foxycon taken down means that they can't drop the sound barrier. This is a crucial kill going into this fight. The sustain being limited by Wichita State might be the final nail in their coffin. The rockets coming in allow that extra oomph of damage. Turret finally getting taken down. It's the Baptiste getting cleaned up, and it's all about getting that Echo, getting those few remaining members.
Going to get to the 99 as well for University of Colorado, and now it doesn't matter which trying to touch a point, trying to get a few kills, but the sound barrier, they're trying to keep everyone alive. Oh, really great way to initiate it.
Sound barrier certainly going to be trying, but Foxycon taken down despite that sound barrier being in effect for the full duration. You see Fluffy but Deadly just swinging around on that point. It has to be University of Colorado making sure that they stay on point. They don't want to give it up. The Diva on top just trying to buy their team some time, eventually getting D-mech caught into the air, and with that, we're going to be seeing another 1-1 here.
It couldn't be closer. It just couldn't get closer for these two teams. Wichita trying to bring it to a 2-2, and University of Colorado trying to end it already. And it's going to be defined here. And the last map of Busan is going to be Mecha Base, really well known for the brawl style compositions coming through. And with that, we already see University of Colorado locking that Reinhardt, locking that Zarya. Wichita, they're still trying to define it.
Yeah, we're certainly going to see Fluffy but Deadly. I liked the switch onto the Reinhardt, but may have been a little bit too late given how long those fights seemed to take their drive.
5, 4,
But the fight, at least at the beginning, is about to start. The doors open, and with that is going to be who is able to take control. There's a lot at stake here, and already a lot of space gained by Wichita. Exactly what they're trying to do, but that might be detrimental. University of Colorado playing very aggressive here.
The University of Colorado going to try to see that opportunity in the Lucio. Now the Reinhardt kind of separating himself by rotating around that column. However, it's Funkmaster who ends up falling. Wichita State in a very good position to keep Fluffy but Deadly alive. Suddenly, things will be looking up for them. University of Colorado eventually routes their way towards the point to try to get some early progress, but looks like Wichita State's not going to be having any of it. Those walls coming up, causing a little bit of a distraction and disruption for this team. A nice Maywall coming in, sectioning off those tanks. Both get taken down, and suddenly it looks like University of Colorado might have this thing in their pocket. Ruby and Funkmaster both dangerously low, but Funkmaster manages to live on.
Wichita was able to get only that 8%, but University of Colorado was there on point, playing aggressive, ready to take it back, and that's exactly what they did. Shatter is going to be ready for this team, and with that, they will be taking as much space as possible in the high ground. Wichita, they don't have an easy task to re-engage here.
And Daddy D gonna be plugging right into the back of that Reinhardt. That Echo dangerously low backed into the Reaper. And with this, it was a rather quick fight. It's gonna be the Earth Shatter and the Nano invested.
What a cleanup. University of Colorado committed to win this fight, to win this map. They are playing so well. Being able to build a Shatter so fast was definitely in their winning condition. But now Fairfield Diddley is the one that's ready for the Shatter. Landing it while trying to engage is not as easy.
Amplification field gonna be coming out, and everybody cut down from the side of Wichita who could have taken any sort of advantage with it. Bird Boy is gonna be leading the charge with that sound barrier as well.
The synergy that we're seeing from University of Colorado is just working so well. They're taking everyone down. A single ultimate is enough to really put the pressure into Wichita, who are now just trying to figure out their way out.
As we can see, Wichita continuing to try to go through this high ground. They're going to drop a turbocharger right onto it, and everybody gets locked down by the grab. Dynamite able to take down a Ruby because of that immortality field keeping everybody alive. Death Blossom now going to be coming in from Daddy D as Fluffy but Deadly tries to throw in an ultimate of their own. An ult vest coming online here, Dryad, but Wichita State seems to be coming out better for it.
In the meantime, University of Colorado will be passing that 80%, but what a crazy fight. Wichita finally will be able to take it. They did use quite a lot of ultimates here. They can let University of Colorado retake this point. They did play and use every single ability that they could, but it just wasn't enough, especially with that Shatter landed at the end.
And now we see University of Colorado looking to make a quick rotation towards this outer high ground over the point. Execution has this Rip Tire online. University of Colorado needs to have a way to respond to it. They don't have the immortality field. They have to either land their shots or try to avoid it with a Ryan shield. We'll see if Execution chooses to use it early on. Almost gets thrown off. Eventually decides to save themselves. Has to run that Rip Tire head first into a Reaper just to keep themselves out.
Oh, and they're playing so aggressive for Execution on the Junkrat, putting even more pressure and more damage, trying to take everyone down from the University of Colorado, and that's exactly what they will be doing. They will be keeping control of the point. The Ana trying to stay alive, not really going to work out. And with that, Wichita once again taking control of the high ground. They don't want to give Colorado any sort of space. They want to take this map.
It's going to be the Earth Shatter coming up against the Nano Boost. Wichita having the Earth Shatter, of course. As now we see Fluffy but Deadly trying to choose which side they want to route towards. It seems like Colorado favoring this low ground approach in comparison to their opponents who favor that high ground. Daddy D gets taken down early on by the focusing beam. Now the Nano Boost coming in allows the Earth swings to come in heavy from Funkmaster. Funkmaster tries to throw in an Earth Shatter of their own, doesn't land too much. Fluffy but Deadly, however, catches the sound barrier to keep themselves alive through the charge. And with this, it looks like the fight's going to go Wichita's way.
Oh, the High Noon taking down Dynamite, and now is going to be 99. Cloud trying to make the comeback, gets two, but gets taken down immediately. Application Matrix trying to put more damage, and it seems like for Wichita, it's going to be enough for them. They will be taking this point.
Now, Funkmaster will have the opportunity to stall out the point for a little bit, but the Zarya not going to be able to touch. Kellikil getting the eat at the very end, just to rub salt in the wounds.
This match doesn't seem real. It 6 maps. We are going to 6 maps.
We're the 6-map casting duo, right? It seems like every season, every semester, we get 6 maps, at least once.
That was really intense. You can see both of the teams really giving everything that they got. Wichita, like I said, they're good at control maps. We already know this. So now they were able to take 2 points. We already said 2 points taken by the side of University of Colorado. It's all going to be defined in a 6th map. We saw a draw, and when we saw Blizzard World, something that we weren't expecting, but now really showing the level of the 2 teams, how close they are in terms of skill.
Yeah, I mean, these 2 teams definitely neck and neck here. And I mean, to me, it's no surprise that Wichita comes out a little bit more victorious on these control point maps, right? They have that play style that really favors them to play in a little bit more of a chaotic environment. And that's exactly what we see coming through in these map types. I mean, we're not going to be seeing that for them as we look ahead. Not quite sure what our next map will be. We'll be getting word for that in just a moment. But now that we know control is not going to be going towards Wichita because we won't be seeing it anymore, Colorado suddenly looks like they might be a little bit more favored.
Yeah, and it really depends on the map, because both of these 2 teams are really good and they're really comfortable with the compositions that they decide to run. And once again, it's just a matter of how much the map is going to benefit that specific composition. And this is not something that they can plan ahead. This is just there's only one time where we've seen 6 maps where we had the opportunity to cast it, and now we're seeing it again. I don't think anyone was prepared for it.
I mean, I know my vocal cords certainly weren't prepared for it, Drad. We are only halfway through our night, and I'm already feeling a little bit rough right around my throat area. But hey, as all good soldiers, we must carry on. I mean, you know, if Colorado and Wichita can put on a show for us, I'm sure that I can manage to maintain my vocal cords just a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know the 2 teams, like, they have to be screaming. They have to be just screaming any sort of positioning advantage they can get. Any comms that can be beneficial. The shot caller probably also lost their voice, just like we're about to.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I definitely cannot wait to get into the minds of these 2 teams, because this is definitely the matchup of the night, it seems. I mean, we still have 2 more to go. Who knows how those are going to turn out? But so far, this has been a brilliant showing. And like I said, kind of recapping back to what we might expect as we look towards our 6th map. Wichita State in a very unfavorable position. You've only won control maps. You've managed to tie 1 assault map. And at that point, or it was hybrid map. And at that point, you just can't sustain yourself off of that, because then you have to draw 3 more maps unless you can somehow pull out a victory on one of them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just so weird to see a draw happening in Blizzard World. I think it's not something that we see very common, but it was just kind of, once again, like we were talking about, the advantage of the compositions benefiting the defense so much more. Even when we went to Volskaya, it seems like what really benefited the team more was the attacking side. So it was very surprising to see Blizzard World turn out that way. But I mean, they took us here. They're going to take us to our last map.
Yeah, still no word as to what the teams will be playing on towards that last map. Don't expect it to be any of the maps that we've already seen. We like a little bit of variety here. I'm hoping, I know it's not going to happen, but I'm hoping we see a Horizon Lunar Colony. I know that's controversial, but I like Horizon. What can I say?
No, I hate that map.
I mean, it's not Paris, okay? It's no Paris. Let's get that
True.
correct.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, King's Row? What about King's Row twinned it all? I think that would be pretty good.
That feels like a classic, iconic Overwatch moment that I think, you know, I could subscribe to that theory. I could say, you know, a good King's Row. If that's the case, I'd say I'd probably have to give it to Colorado, not only because it's not a control map, but also because Wrecking Ball doesn't really seem to work there, and Colorado does have a very aggressive type of brawl in certain situations.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we were saying just how important it is, how much the map can benefit the composition the teams decide to play. So whatever that map is going to be, that last map is going to really define it. So like, it's going to be another control map, though.
Oh, very interesting. I'm getting word now from our producer. Yes. You sure? Okay. It is going to be Oasis. So actually that control map, all of a sudden things looking very good for Wichita. Suddenly my words are coming back to bite me.
control map. So Wichita has won both control maps so far, but it has taken us to the distance on those maps, right? So anything can happen, and now University of Colorado, I know they know this. I know they can prepare, and they can, because they get control of the point, they get to the 90% and they lose it completely. Now that's the mistake that they have to fix, and that's going to be enough for them to win.
And while we're here, right, let's talk about the wrecking ball in the room, right? How is this going to interact with the maps that we're going to be seeing? And speaking of seeing, we got some nice replays up on screen. Just in case, you know, these matches are getting a little bit too chaotic for you, we got a nice recap for you. But how's the wrecking ball going to play into Oasis here? It's fascinating.
Oh yeah, there's so many questions that we can ask, and I think they have been so many highlights so far, just like we're seeing, that it just leaves us really not knowing what to expect for this last map. There's a lot of really good highlights from the DPS, from the tanks as well. Sometimes we see the Zarya, the Reinhardt really popping up. The supports as well, we talked about Illicit before. Now they have to do it again.
Yeah, and so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing from both of these teams. I don't think I've seen a single map where I've been disappointed by either side's performance, but as we do look towards that Oasis, we do see our first map coming online here, Ryan.
Yeah, like you said, it is going to be this last map. The 6th map is going to be Oasis. And it just seems like it's crazy that they're taking us this far. It's going to be... This is a map where you have to define what you're going to play from the beginning. You can't make any changes halfway through, because then you're not going to have the ultimate economy. You're not going to have that momentum. So whatever decisions the teams are making now, they're going to be definitive until the end. We already see University of Colorado locking that Winston, locking that Zarya for Wichita is going to be that double shield. Again, very weird double shield, but has worked for them so far.
Overall, a very interesting composition. Not too much similar between these teams, save the Lucio. We'll see exactly the routing they want to take, but Colorado, to no surprise, wants to get onto that high ground. They don't want to let that dominance come through. Cloud going to be raining in a couple shots, not landing too much damage, but still have a little bit of ult charge. Funkmaster as well going to be popping on top of the Gazebo, going to meet their opponents. Daddy D as well lining up, trying to go for some hacks, but the shield's just proving a little bit dominant. A nice hack on the Echo, though. I might have spoken a bit too soon.
Oh yeah, but now they have to get the kills. University of Colorado, they already have control of the point, but they have to get it. And there you go, Cog getting the first kill. Dynamite getting taken down. That double shield doesn't seem like it's going to protect them enough for the total Wichita.
And it's going to have to be that back out from Daddy D on the Sombra. It's going to be a little bit rough there. The tanks managing to stay alive for quite a while from the side of Wichita State, considering they were basically in a giant funnel tube. But with that, eventually the point will be going over to them. A great start with what they need.
Colorado going through the same scenario that we saw before. They take control of the point, and then when it's so close for them to get it, they lose it. I don't want this to happen again for this team, so because of that, they will be taking the high ground. They know how important it is, especially on this map in Wichita. They don't have any ultimates. The amplification matrix, but without the high ground, is not going to be as effective.
I see Funkmaster just meleeing, throwing down banana peels all over the place. Need to be very careful. The high noon coming in almost lands onto the Echo, just barely able to avoid that, but can't avoid Cloud forever. The headshot eventually being sunk into Dynamite. Bird Boys and Illicit both taking quite a bit of damage. Huge anti-nade raining true onto 3 members of Wichita State. You can't really push too forward as aggressively because of it. It's the amplification matrix trying to come on a line. Can't do too much again because of that hesitance. Now, the grab from Ruby allows a lot more damage to come in from the tank lines.
Oh, but the sound barrier from both sides trying to keep the teams alive. But University of Colorado, they do have the advantage here. They have the kills. But that, the tank's trying to run away. But University of Colorado, they're not going to let them.
And Colorado definitely going to be looking aggressive here. Ruby, in fact, getting a nano midway through that fight, trying to build up another grab. A smart move if University of Colorado tries to play around it.
60% in the meantime, and by the time that we see that next engagement for Wichita, it's going to pass at 75 at least. It's going to pass at 80 even. So Wichita, I want to say how they initiate, they have to shatter, but if University of Colorado keeps control of the high ground, it's not going to be easy to land.
It will certainly not be the easiest piece of cake that is possible. We're going to be seeing the Supercharger come down. EMP lands hard onto the side of Wichita. 2 members get taken down, 1 from each spot. As well, Cloud now going to be taken out of this fight. Funkmaster gets stunned out, thrown into the Torbjorn Molten Core.
It's happening.
That, Wichita starts to turn it around.
It's happening again. Wichita, they retake control of the point. University of Colorado, they get it to past 90%. Oh, no.
A tale as old as time between these two teams as they continue to look forward. And it's going to be Funkmaster diving in a bit aggressive. Dynamite taking them down with the flashbang.
Wichita, the most important thing here is trying to take control until the end. The Shadow is going to be ready. Now they can land them easily. On that University of Colorado, they have to go through the low ground. No EMP to use. Cloud does have the high noon, but once again, with that double shield, there aren't that many chances for it to land effectively.
It's going to be very difficult. That Winston bubble getting broken almost immediately as Funkmaster tries to make their way up towards the team. But Foxycon taking an arrow to the head. Daddy D may have just opened this field wide up for the side of Wichita. Or for the side of University of Colorado, rather, if they're able to capitalize on it. Cloud throwing in the high noon, rains in a couple shots, barely able to save themselves. And then the shot onto Seed as well. Cloud coming in at the very last moment.
Cloud is in fire right now, gets 3 kills, and with that, they retake the point. They're going to get to the 99%, which all they can do right now is trying to touch Dynamite under Doomfist, also trying to get a little bit more speed. Delucio getting taken down by Cloud.
And Foxycon just had to try to get onto point, make anything happen. The grab goes out from Ruby. Gets stunned down by the Earthshatter coming in from Fluffy, but deadly, but it doesn't look like the punch is quite there. Wichita State has the Molten Core, however, trying to throw it out onto point, make anything happen, but they can't quite. The first tick seems like it's going to go over to University of Colorado.
100%. Finally, University of Colorado taking that first advantage. They need one more of the sub maps to guarantee the win that they need. Both of these two teams fighting, giving everything that they've got, but it seems like really good rotations from University of Colorado benefit them so much. Now, as we approach this map, we're going to be seeing the Rhine target definitely coming through. And map really will know for this brawl style. And if you have Road Blowers and the Lucio, you also have the extra speed.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. To the side of University of Colorado, this puts you in a great spot, especially going on to this university map. Dynamite, however, might be prepared for this. Going on to the Reaper, gonna be doing a lot of damage up close.
I'm very curious to see exactly who's able to take control of the point first. Is it going to be University of Colorado and then Wichita is going to take it back? What's the scenario going to be like now? Dynamite now is going to be on the Reaper. We've seen this hero, a lot of changes recently. Might make a great difference here.
Nice Fire Strike, rather, coming in from Funkmaster, cleaving most of Wichita's team, building up a decent 32% ult charge for Funkmaster. Already a decent wave. Execution having to throw in that overload just to keep themselves alive, a little bit more stable. Helic taken down, and now the tank line for Wichita State taken down. Dynamite trying to be that gatekeeper, but just cannot, getting too oppressed by the opposing team. And with this, it looks like University of Colorado are on the hot foot.
I can tell that University of Colorado, they feel the momentum going on for them. They're going to get that first percentage again, in which they just have to regroup. They have to go again. The composition that they decided to play at the beginning, not really effective. And now double shield again, but with the Sigma. I do like this change, a little bit more mobility, but now it's a matter of how much value you can get. Fluffy but deadly getting taken down.
A huge opportunity there for the side of University of Colorado. The Earthshatter lands in off of the Reinhardt kill. And with this, Colorado continues to lead. Daddy D takes a drop, but that's not much.
Crossing that 30%. In the meantime, University of Colorado, they still need a couple fights to guarantee the win here. And now Wichita, they have to go again. They change a little bit of the composition, like we said, with the Sigma. But if their Reinhardt gets taken down, if that main tank gets taken down, there's nothing that the team can do to protect themselves. There's no made wall.
And Funkmaster already lapping Fluffy but Deadly in that ultimate charge once again. Gets the nano boost, gonna be able to build it back up even quicker. Gonna perhaps be trying to throw the flex in with an early Earthshatter. Does indeed throw it. Fluffy but Deadly taken to the ground. Foxycon, however, buying a bit of space for their remaining tank in that Sigma. Wichita State gonna be reeling a little bit, but not able to quite get too aggressive.
And in the meantime, 1 kill, and it seems like Wichita, they're getting the momentum again. There seems like they will be capturing the point. University of Colorado, you know, we're just seeing the same scenario happening over and over again.
It's always those high percentage turnovers for these teams. We'll see exactly how Wichita State wants to go about defending this, as they don't have too many ultimates in their pocket when they have to contest with a grab, a dragon, a high noon, and a sound barrier.
They do have the grab dragons though, so I would love to see this being the way that they retake this point. It's just putting everyone together. The sound barrier might keep them alive, so they're able to bait it before. Perfect win condition for University of Colorado to retake the point.
High noon from Cloud ensures that everybody has to stay back, allowing a point flip to come through from Colorado. Now the Dragons and the grab coming through. Gonna be taken down too. Funkmaster being sure to throw in a few swings there as well. The duplicate going online from the Echo Dynamite may have been a little bit too late placed. And with this, Wichita State University are in death throes.
Yeah, they're about to pass on 90%. University of Colorado, they might just do on this last map. They might come with this surprise, getting the last control map. It is so close for it to happen. That shatter is going to be ready. If it lands, that's going to guarantee a few kills for the team. That's going to be enough for this team, but now is it going to be enough?
We see the Earth Shatter go online. Daddy D gets taken down, but so far things looking fairly decent for Colorado. It's going to be the sound barrier keeping everybody alive, courtesy of Bird Boys. It's going to be the Wrecking Ball. It's going to be the Lucio on point. Both get taken down in quick fashion. Overtime burns down, and with that, finally, our 6-map game has come to a conclusion, as it's going to be the University of Colorado taking the victory after 6.
Only after 6 maps,
Yeah.
you know, nothing crazy. That was absolutely insane from both teams. University of Colorado, finally they figure out their way out of control maps, getting the win on the last one. Wichita, they did have the advantage, but University of Colorado, they were playing so aggressive. They had the momentum going. Cloud getting a few kills. The tanks also landing a few shatters. It was amazing job. A really long match, but it just turned out perfectly.
And I'd be willing to say that these two teams going to be looking to come out better on both sides because of this match. Both teams definitely seem to be pushed to their limits, definitely had to overcome the struggles that one another put in front of them. So definite growth I'm expecting to see out of these teams just off this game alone.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I know that we said that it was going to be close, but this is a whole new level of things that we were expecting. It was amazing. So many plays that we saw, so many highlights. We saw 6K. We saw some really good shatters as well, landing those EMPs, always being on point. It just couldn't get any better for these two teams, and it gives them enough time and enough preparation to really use this match as a rivalry to see what they can do better for the future matches that come to them.
Certainly, it could not have gone better for these teams, and the only way it can get better for us, Dryad, is if we have an interview afterwards, which I'm thinking, I think we do. We will be seeing that on the other end of this break, folks, so stick around. You won't want to miss it. Hello and welcome back, everybody. And after that 6-map game, what a, I guess, endeavor it's been for both of these teams. However, you haven't been caught up yet. University of Colorado coming out victorious 3-2 over their opponents. And with that, we have a little bit of a special guest here. Illicit, hello, welcome to the booth, and a very big congratulations.
Hi, thank you very much. How are you doing?
Doing well so far, but our night is only just beginning here. So I want to dive straight into it. It seems like your opponents in Wichita State were very intent on running that Wrecking Ball. Was that something that you guys had to adapt to, or was it just kind of something that naturally worked its way into your favor?
So the main thing with the Wrecking Ball is that we were able to mostly adapt to it. There are some times in Busan, I'm not going to lie, we had a little bit of trouble with them. As you guys have said, Wichita has a nasty, like, their control is pretty, like, it's hard to play against. So yeah, it was just like kind of ridiculous in the initial phases, but then we sort of adapted. And plus, most of us literally just get out of classes, so most of us don't even haven't even warmed up. So yeah, so there's that. Sorry, long answer.
It's perfectly okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want, so it works out. Now, so I have a question for you in terms of that control map. So yeah, like you said, they have a really good control map. So what did you do? What did your team talk about for this last map that we had? It was Oasis. How did you know how to play more aggressive for you to take the advantage?
Oasis, I think Oasis was a different story, just because I don't think many teams have been playing it, and neither have we. But we were able to adapt, seeing that. Seeing how they're consistently running like the double shield, like Orisa Rhine, like as you saw in the first one, we were able to get the high ground and just play our angles. So yeah. Oasis is just a map that just adheres more to our play style, which is kind of like a skirmishy kind of thing. It's the best way to explain it. Yeah.
And then I do want to ask you a little bit about your own playstyle. We saw some really cool kills coming through from your side, which is not something that you would generally expect from the sports, but always a really good surprise. So is this just something that you usually do? Or is this something that you do with your team specifically?
So
There's more of a like passive, Ana styles that we see, but you just came completely different and really were able to pop off.
Yeah, the main reason is like I only play the Ana when I'm allowed to. As an Ana, this is for anyone who's also watching. As an Ana, you need to learn how to take advantage of certain situations. They're playing very close, clumped up like compositions. You were seeing me so many times just run behind them and just nade right there because I've been given the opportunity to, so I am gonna take it. And that it is risky, yes. Like someone could literally walk up like, oh, there's an Ana here, dink dink, that kind of thing. But like in a situation like this, it's so important to just, if you want to climb as Ana, you have to take advantage of angles that are given to you and abuse. That's what I did. I abused essentially.
Well, I don't think anybody can argue with the results we saw coming out of your team there, Illicit. So once again, a big congratulations. Well done overall to you, your team, and even to your opponents, right? This did not seem to be that easy of a game. But before I cut you loose, before I let you go, because I imagine you might want to take a nap, get a little rest in. Do you want to give you the opportunity to give any shout outs you might need?
All right, shout outs. Well, my whole team, we were absolutely killing it, and I absolutely loved it. I would also like to do a personal shout out. I have a Twitch.tv that Listen plays. Yeah, I'll be in the chat. I'm doing like the little TikTok, like like the fingers. Yeah, please follow. No, sorry, but my team is one hell of a team, and I'm giving them the biggest shout outs, and we're gonna have the best dinner on Saturday. Yep. Shout out to mostly.
Big well done there, Illicit. Once again, congratulations. Go run off, have your fun, and thank you for coming in and answering a few questions for us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Take care, you guys.
Likewise. And with that, Dryad, we are about ready to wrap it up for this match. However, we will be coming back with another one. No, we are in fact not done. We'll be catching our next game, which is going to be Niagara versus St. John's. And we'll be here in just a few moments, folks, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome back, folks. We are revived. We are brought back to life after that very lengthy 6-map game. We are now looking ahead towards Niagara versus St. John's. Interesting lineups we have here in terms of their score differential, Dryad.
Oh yeah, Niagara, I feel like they just haven't figured out the best way to get their momentum. And they've tried, sometimes they've come close to, but they've never been able to get that proper win. So I'm very curious to see if, in this couple of weeks that have passed, they were able to practice to maybe figure out a composition that's going to benefit them. I think St. John's should be the one really coming up on top here, but excited to see if Niagara brings something new.
Yeah, it's worth noting that so far of the 2 weeks we've had in this semester, Niagara's come up 1-1, but that's kind of a caveat because, Niagara did have a forfeit win over Siena College in the first week. So not a lot of information we can really gauge from this team. As well, they lost to RIT. So not too much to really be set in stone there based off of Niagara's skills just yet.
Yeah, so that's why I just want to see what they want to bring. If they were practicing something else, if they also want to take advantage of the new patch that came through. Maybe with the Reaper, maybe the Orisa. I think those are the ones that we've seen a little bit more. Even Winston, they can come through. But so far, Niagara is going to be starting with a Brawl style composition. Even the May coming through, we're going to start it off once again in Ruins.
Now, once again at Ruin seems to be our initial favorite here in Dryad, as these teams going to be rolling right out onto point. Rich almost taking the head off of Aristalia, instead just going to be settling for Velvet Demise, as now it's going to be St. John's up in that manpower. The hook going right onto the Reinhardt, not able to close the kills though. Symmetra able to get set up on point. Might not be a situation St. John's would want, even if they do get the kills, although they're getting them fast enough where they might not mind.
Oh, Rich gets 3 kills at the end, and that's going to guarantee St. John's will be able to see control of the point here. They will be getting that first percentage as well, and a few more kills. And Lucio trying to run away, not really getting in. Niagara, they have to regroup.
And Niagara just going to be taking the quick moment here, and St. John's already performing very well, especially with this Widowmaker. We see Rich getting the damage boost from Slurpee. Already has that Nano Visor, or that Tac Visor, rather the Infra Sights almost online, as we see Mr. Koala creeping around in the back.
Yeah, there we go. The Wrecking Ball being a little bit disruptive here. St. John's University, they want to get a few more kills, and because of that, Rich all doing the high ground. There's no one who can get him so far. Watch out the Infra Sights, like you said, in Niagara University. They just have to figure out the best way in.
Velvet Demise has to be very careful here. We've seen Rich have no qualms against taking heads off of Lucio's, and with that, we're just taking body shots at DC 224. With that, the tank line demolished for Niagara. St. John's looking to so far be a dominant force in this matchup.
This Tracer getting 3 kills as well. Going to pass at 50%. In the meantime, St. John's University doing a really good job. Ultimate Economy, it's about to be really good as well. It's going to be the Ho-Ho coming through. It's going to be as well as that Transcendence. Niagara, once again, they try to go in, but they don't play aggressive enough to get the kills. It seems like they don't play as a team, so I do want to see this change now.
Rich just too dominant on this Widowmaker, able to take down Light. Yep, it's a lot of healing gone for the side of Niagara as well. Both the DPS now going to be gone and dusted. With this, it looks like St. John's just continue to hold this fight. They're content to let it go as long as they can.
Just the kills coming through. This Tracer is doing such a good job for the set of St. John's University, getting those kills very early on, and with that, it's already 85%. This could be one last fight. Niagara is trying to figure out the best way to come back to point, and with that, they're going to change into a Reinhardt.
And so far, we'll see if that Reinhardt can get anywhere. Niagara managing to get a kill onto Fiscal. With that, both Tracers now going to be taken down. It's going to have to be the last ditch ever from Niagara to try to get onto point. With this, St. John's continuing to be aggressive. Mr. Koala Man on that Wrecking Ball, able to retreat, get a little bit of health back, but Rich able to make these rotations, land the headshots to their abs. Oh my god, Rich, please stop!
Rich is just going insane here now, trying to get the kill into the McCree. Oh, here he go, gets it. With that, what I get away to get with that 100% for St. John's University. Rich, perfect hero for this map, perfect hero for this team. But that already taking the advantage. Niagara University just got shot down over and over again.
Yeah, and how appropriate that Rich is wearing that skiing uniform, because that was just cold-blooded there. Gonna be getting a little bit of a chill if you're not dressed a little bit heavier.
Oh yeah, definitely. And now, I just want to see what Rich is going to do here. I don't know if we're going to be seeing this Widowmaker keep being brought up again. Now, there you go, a little bit of that echo. Something that we haven't seen before. Very excited to see Niagara University. In the meantime, it's just like they like sticking to their same composition. But it's not really about the composition, but about the first engagement that really make the difference. Oh, and as they say that, the Zarya and the Sigma will be coming through. Nope, it's going to be the Winston. Okay, Winston and Sigma coming through for the side of Niagara University. That means that as they made those changes, they don't have the speed, but there you go, they get really quickly to point.
As we look at Niagara immediately pushing onto point, they already look a little bit discombobulated. They're not quite gathered up as tightly as they could be, and because of that, Rich is going to be feasting on the few remaining members who aren't able to receive the benefit of their tanks, of their supports, of their DPS. Anybody caught out of line by Niagara will be cut down.
And if Rich got a few highlights, that's what I'll make it before, and now he will do it again, now on the Echo. With that first percentage, once again, going for the side of St. John's University, and it was just that Lucio getting taken down very early on. They don't really have enough heals, they don't have enough speed for Niagara University to recontest, and now they have the opportunity to go again.
As we can see, Niagara trying to cut off any lines of sight they can from Rich, from Fiscal, with those May walls, but not quite able to find it. Mr. Koala Man lining up. Oh no, you can't! You can't feed the Wrecking Ball those opportunities! Such a shame there as Niagara loses 3 members to the cliffs, and the rest sure to follow.
That just worked out perfectly for the Yance University. Really good. And it was just a mistake in the positioning that Niagara University was taking what enabled this Wrecking Ball to do it. And now it seems like they will be pushing forward here, Rich, as well as the Mercy getting that support. Seems like the soul they're trying to stay alive might be getting away with it.
Niagara gonna be pushed upon very aggressively. Rich going in with the duplicate, looking to build up the gravitic flux as quick as possible. Not even gonna need it at this rate, just looking to bolster their numbers. However, hanging up bread up high. And with that, it looks like St. John's continues this oppression.
These are some of the best opportunities to go right into spawn, and that's exactly what this Echo and Mercy are trying to do. Tangents University, they are going to pass at 70%, and with that, they need to guarantee that they're able to stay alive for this what could potentially be last fight. Niagara University, no ultimate so far.
Niagara definitely been lacking in that aspect. Aristalia going to be switching on to the McCree. Maybe that changes things up, although it might be a moment too late. 85% says this is close to last fight territory. Bread getting taken down means that things might not be going the way of Niagara as they are already suffering losses. Compound the Sigma and the Moira onto that. Things are not going to be going your way. You lose the Tracer, but that's a trade you're happy with, especially with that res.
No one else, not even being able to take it to overtime. With that, compared to what we saw before, very, very quickly Ilias.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a little bit of shell shock to see an Ilios go that fast.
Yeah.
And perhaps the quickest it could have gone. I don't believe there was any progress given over to Niagara. But as we can see, St. John's just looked a little bit more coordinated, looked a little bit more locked in than their opponents in Niagara.
Yeah, definitely. We never really saw a proper engagement from Niagara, and we mentioned it again. It was just they never really jumped in contested point. It was just them trying to walk to point and then getting taken down in that process. So a very tough situation to be in, but it's a control map. I do want to see what they can bring into the next map. I'm pretty sure we're going to go back into Blizzard World. So the opportunity to attack, honor, and defend first might be benefiting the team a little bit more.
You're indeed very correct, Rad. We will be going into Blizzard World, but first we're going to be diving into a few replays. Even though it was a fast match, we still got a couple of highlights that we'd love to share with you folks at home here. As soon as there'll be a second, with all good things comes time. Our producer, he can only do so much, only human. Hasn't quite ascended to godhood just yet, but we're going to get him there in just a couple casts. Yeah, just don't worry about it. Eventually they'll make it. But with that Dryad, it just looks like St. John's so clean, so proficient right now. Niagara, again, especially during those first fights, they didn't quite look as cohesive.
Yeah, they just never really got that momentum to use those ultimates. They didn't get their ultimate economy. They tried swapping into other heroes, but then they never got the ultimates for that. So there's a couple mistakes that were happening there, and it just a matter of maybe that it starts with the communication that they have as a team of, hey, maybe we can use the dragons coming through with the Graviton Surge, whatever they want to use, and we already know that communication is a really good way to start it out.
And as we can see here, these very aggressive pushes coming through from St. John's. I get the feeling that this is going to be a little bit characteristic of them coming in these next few maps.
Yeah, they're really good at getting this, and especially when we have Mr. Colorman, when we see this Wrecking Ball getting the skills, and as I say that, we do see that replay, really good move as well happening. Having this Wrecking Ball play so aggressive, playing pretty much into the enemy spawn, gives you the confidence that you will be having that momentum until the end of this control maps.
And of course, it wouldn't be a highlight without a couple of Widow headshot compilations. They're able to land those 2 shots, really open things up on Ruins. And I don't anticipate it being the case in Blizzard World, but I would love to see Rich just throw on the Widowmaker, throw on the Ashe, for those tight first point defenses. I'd love to see something like that, although maybe not the most practical.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but if you're holding the defense, I think this is one of the possibilities that we can see being brought up when you're defending first and you want to take control of the point, then we know the snipers are really good at holding space. So if you go Widowmaker again, then definitely could be a winning condition for St. John's University if they are looking to full hold Niagara. But it really just all depends on Niagara's aggression and if they see this, I mean, what is the solution? Maybe going dive, maybe going diva with Winston as well, trying to jump into Widowmaker, whatever she is, ideally on the high ground, take her down, and then use that for their own advantage.
A lot of options that could really be going through the head of Niagara as they consider all the different compositions that St. John's could be opting into. But so far, the only thing Niagara really has to concern themselves with is trying to turn some of that momentum. You don't want to get absolutely blown out. If you can put at least one map on the board, a couple points on a map in your favor, all of a sudden you might be suddenly starting to look a little bit better, carry a little bit more momentum into your next matchup than you did this time around, and maybe in the long terms of things start looking up.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I think the best opportunity that Niagara can have here is starting on the defense. I think that would give them a little bit of that notion that they can play for trying to gain space, but and then as they say that Niagara University, they will be starting the defense here. I'm very excited to see what they can bring because regardless of the composition, they can delay that push from St. John's even before they're able to get the kills. They can just push forward, play aggressive, get a single kill, and that might guarantee the fight for them. St. John's University, they were known for playing more aggressive, so this is definitely something that we can expect from them on the attacking side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how these two compositions are going to kind of go against each other. We don't know for sure if this is the composition that St. John's is going to be running, but that Torbjorn, a very consistent damage dealer for the side of Niagara. Aristalia, if you get enough spam, if you throw enough arrows, eventually some of them are going to hit, going to stick, going to wear down the shields of your opponent. It can also be considered very consistent, although not perhaps precise damage. Either way, Niagara has an opportunity here to try to make things work for them.
And St. John's University, I'm waiting to see if Vistar is actually going to be in the Genji. It seems like that is actually going to be the case, and we were also talking about Rich. Rich is still bringing the Widowmaker even on defense, already taking the turret down, but they need to get a few kills of the actual players before taking that advantage here.
Well, Rich just being able to have that grappling hook shoot themselves high into the air makes Niagara get a little bit pinned down, perhaps get a little bit claustrophobic. Supports have to be very careful about taking open alleyways to rotate themselves. And St. John's already pushing up onto this high ground, absolutely claiming it, and now there's not much that Niagara can do. The Immortality Field goes out rather early. St. John's doesn't really have to fight into that if they don't want, but Slurpee definitely going to be taking the kill onto their counterpart in the Mercy. Things are looking good for him so far.
Oh, and if you lose your Mercy, this is not going to look good for the rest of the team. Rich getting the pick into Aristalia. Good initiation once again, that it seems like St. John's University is taken now. For Niagara, they're just getting taken down one by one. River trying to do anything, take down Rich, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be enough for the team.
As we look ahead, St. John's continues to build up that point progress. Much to be done by the defense. They can only try to throw themselves onto point, but even that will end up failing. And Rich going to be walking away with a nice infra sights at the end of the day.
St. John's University will be taking control and will be starting to move the payload. And in the meantime, St. John's University, they know their win condition into the second part of the map is going to be the high ground. They will be taking control of it. The shadow is going to be ready very, very soon. And they have to use it before being able to get the rest of the ultimates.
Lightyear is having a rough time, whether it's the Ana, whether it's the Widowmaker. They are just not letting that Mercy stay alive. And with that, it's going to be the Earth Shatter coming in from Koala Man, ensuring this fight goes their way.
The payload will be moving still. And now, they can just try to get this pick. This is a very interesting 1v1.
Oh, no. I'm a little bit upset that ITG decided to mess up the 1v1. No honor there, but either way, it's going to be going the favor of St. John's, who continues to move this cart consistently.
Yeah, and there's going to be a little bit of a delay that we saw. In the meantime, Niagara University, they were coming back. They do have the Molten Core as well, so good opportunity for them. I was about to say Amplification Matrix, but as I say that, Rich popping up again, gets 3.
Rich! All right, Rich, on the high ground, you're just not content to let us not say your name for 3 minutes. That being said, St. John's going to be carrying this cart basically off the back of that Ana with the Reinhardt going in tow as well. 5 minutes and 20 left to get to third.
Rich just has a really good positioning, and that's what's enabling the team for success. Now, they will be pushing forward for this St. John's University. They want to pass this corner. Immortality Field already wasted. The Baptiste getting taken down, and now, finally, the biggest win condition for St. John's University is going to be ready. It's going to be the Nano Blade coming through for the last fight.
Gonna be very interested to see who Bizarre decides to dive with that Nano Blade. Could be the Mercy, could be the Junkrat. We'll see exactly what they find, but the Earth Shatter might make it irrelevant here. That Mercy walking away, not in fact walking away, almost uses that Valve and gets away with it. Doesn't, however, impact, and now it seems St. John's University is just putting one foot in front of the other.
Oh, there's so much time remaining as well. The payload is going to keep moving, but St. John's University is going to hold this very close. Rich tries to get a few more kills from close range.
They're going to be trying, but not finding too much. Has that grapple, try to launch themselves high up into the air. Can't really do much around that Winston bubble, though.
Yeah, and now it's going to be the dive, finally taking out Rich, but then Nano Blade coming through, gets stunned. It's not really going to stop the Genji from getting the kills.
No.
Takes down the Mercy. Again, Bizarre also getting taken down in the meantime, but the payload so close to getting to the finish line.
Aristelia trying to hold out, gets bobbled out by a right click from the Zarya, and with that, the writing's on the wall. St. John University just over 4 minutes in the clock.
Quite a lot of time on this map, especially here on Bristol World, so... Yakari University, it seems like they couldn't win a single fight, and it was a very tough spot to be in. They tried coming back, but the ultimate just never turned out to be effective. St. John's University now, if they're able to make this full hold, that would make a really good impression of the level that they can perform on this map.
St. John's definitely looking to make a little bit better of a name for themselves, and doing that to a very staggering degree as we take a nice look at the Pylon Terrace there. Looks like a cup of coffee. Can you get a cup of coffee in pylon size? That seems excessive to me.
I mean, maybe you can. Oh, there's like tables behind. Wait, never noticed that. There's like tables that you can sit.
Yeah, little bars.
I never noticed that one. I always discover something new.
My question is, who's using ketchup and mustard for their coffee, right? Because it looks like a coffee shop, right? There's a coffee mug.
Right.
Who's is that a condiment people use in like California or wherever? That being said, I just say that because that's Blizzard headquarters, I think. But
yeah.
That being said, we're looking ahead for these teams to come out. St. John's look like they're going to roll with the wrecking ball. No pun intended.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the case. And John's University, they're looking to have a full hold happen, and it's all going to be a matter of how disruptive your wrecking ball can be without getting taken down. And it's very complicated. It's not really an easy task, especially when you have a DPS lineup that can get taken down easily as well. You have the Doomfist, you also have the Widowmaker, so any effective dive that Niagara can make is going to be enough to win the fight.
Bizarre going to be trying to creep around. ITG, however, getting a big pile driver, enabling DC224 to get locked down and get capitalized upon. Bizarre, however, not really able to get in position just yet. Pretty much just hanging out on the wings, trying to find anything they can. Uppercut does land onto Aristelia, rather the seismic slam does, ensuring that those kills do go through. And with the St. John's getting just one kill is all they need.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to look for, and there you go. In the meantime, it's going to be St. John's once again taking the advantage here. The Reinhardt getting taken down, and with that, the momentum once again going for St. John's University. It seems like they're trying to push into the spawn.
Maybe perhaps a little bit of a game of touch the spawn coming through from St. John's, as now they look to get a little bit more aggressive than we see teams usually hold here.
No one can hide from my
Definitely, but they know they can get away with it, so it's working out in the meantime for St. John's University. Niagara, they have the opportunity to go again. They have a really good composition here with the Junkrat putting a lot of damage. But, oh, the Junkrat trying to push forward here.
Yeah, Junkrat is going to be seeing Rich, but gets led by the collar right into Bizarre, who greets them with a couple of shots and perhaps a punch. And St. John's now absolutely playing beyond the first choke point. This is the kind of aggression you expect.
Yeah, the sound barrier trying to keep everyone alive, and it's very risky to hold this point from so close to the choke point. But for St. John's, they can get away with it over and over again. It's going to keep happening. The rest coming through, the Junkrat back on the field, but for how long?
That question certainly remains to be seen. Aristelia taken down by the Wrecking Ball swing coming through, and he's going to be Sheridan brought dangerously low and eventually brought down with that. The Meteor Strike coming in lands right on the light. Yeah, Guardian Angels their way into it a moment before it strikes, and with that, St. John's continuing to lead ahead. Not this Wrecking Ball, please.
They're not letting them get out of spawn. This is a very tough situation. Yakari University is trying to stay alive, trying to get the ultimate economy. They do have the tire though, so this is a big opportunity. There's not that many opportunities to run away from it, so it's just a matter of the positioning that Bradbury can get and trying to give it the tire alive in the meantime.
We'll see what they can get. Mr. Koala Man does have a grab to lock things down. Might throw it out a little bit far. Just trying to get that preemptive halt going into effect. A big minefield into the grab might be exactly what this team's looking for, although questionable whether they would certainly need that. The Junkrat going to be ripping that tire, trying to get some sort of aerial capabilities on it, see what it can land.
Yeah, just trying to land, but not really effective. The ball will still protect, and is going to be the grab to insert this half air. Playing very aggressive here for St. John's University, but no kills so far. There you go. The first one, the Mercy getting taken down.
An excellent performance there by ITG. Sheridan getting pushed towards that Widowmaker, able to take Rich down with a couple of swings of the axe for that Reinhardt. Sheridan going for a pin, misses the Doomfist a little bit wild there. And now Sheridan just kind of swinging, not really having too much of a target, but as a lone Reinhardt, there's only so much you can do, especially when the rest of your team are dropping like flies.
And there's only 25 seconds remaining. Finally, the Reinhardt getting taken down at St. John's University. They might just have this full hold going on. Mercy getting taken down. Last push is going to be delayed. No support that are going to be in the field.
And with this, St. John's now just needs to prevent anybody from touching that point for the next 10 seconds. With that, it's going to be the Wrecking Ball, it's going to be the Reaper, and the Soldier coming out. A nice sleep from Slurpee.
Yeah, there you go. That's going to not really allow the attackers to have any overtime going on. And with that, St. John's University already at 2-0 for them.
Yeah, St. John's in a nice lead position here. They are on that match point, which, again, you said it, they only need that one map in order to come out victorious over Niagara.
Yeah, and for Niagara, it would just have a tough situation to be in because of how aggressive St. John's University was playing. Rich was getting away with kills over and over again, and Doomfist as well. I always mention Doomfist because I didn't like seeing this hero. It's hard to get any value of this hero, but when you're St. John's going against Niagara, this is the one opportunity where you can see the Doomfist coming through with a few kills, being able to go back, and you also have the protection for your tanks, knowing that you're able to stay alive for a little bit longer.
And it didn't seem like the Doomfist was absolutely necessary for St. John's, but if it's what you're a little bit more comfortable running and you don't feel like you need that extra meta edge over your opponents, where it definitely seems like that's the case for St. John's, you might as well run it. You might as well run something that's a little bit more in your wheelhouse and sharpen that tool while you have the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And we were even mentioning how likely it was for us to see Rich playing the Widowmaker again. Usually we wouldn't see this, especially when attacking. It's something that teams are very hesitant about. So if they're going with this Widowmaker, you're getting so much value out of it, really proving the confidence that St. John's can have. And I'm pretty sure they can bring this confidence into what could possibly be your last map.
Yeah, we will certainly see. Of course, it will be a Volskaya that's going to be coming up next. So curious to see if maybe we see Rich maintain that long distance reach. Widowmaker can come through, although perhaps a little less viable than you might like to see on something like Anubis. That being said, as you mentioned at Volskaya, the next map to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely Volskaya is going to be the next map. And yeah, like you said, I think Niagara also had some really good moments where they could have gotten more value if they initiated fight before. We saw the Reinhardt getting 2 kills on point, but there was no supports to keep the Zero alive, so it just made it really hard to get any value, even though it could have happened if they had the momentum. But then Reinhardt was overwhelmed, everyone looking at him getting taken down, and because of that, it was a full hold, going really well for the side of St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's going to be looking to keep up this hot streak. They want to make this as quick a game as possible. It looks like we're trying to get both extremes in terms of these game lengths here, Drad. We had one that pretty much went as long as it could, and now we're having one perhaps go as fast as it can. So we'll see exactly how these teams operate under this, I guess, understanding here. As we can see, this nice, lovely map screen. Volskaya will be next. If necessary, if Niagara starts to make a little bit of a cling back, we will be going to Junkertown, or even if we see a draw on Volskaya, it is 1st to 3.
Yeah, like you said, and because of that, just Volskaya is really going to define it. It's going to be, like we said, potentially the last map, but it all depends on Niagara and how aggressive they decide to play. We haven't really seen them play together as a team, and I think that's the biggest mistake that they need to correct as soon as possible. They are trying to go into point, but they're just getting taken down. They can overwhelm the Wrecking Ball. They can overwhelm they can dive even the Widowmaker if that's exactly what they want to do. Even the Doomfist is one of the easiest heroes to take down just because there aren't that many opportunities after they use that whole kit. So a few opportunities that Niagara has to try to take the advantage here, but in the meantime, we know that St. John's is the one who's coming up on top.
And we do also know that there's a little bit of a connection issue going on between these two teams, so we will be taking a quick break so we can get that resolved. We will be right back as soon as that is fixed, so stick around. It won't be long. We are at match point, folks. St. John's University versus Niagara, up 2-0. Not a spot Niagara wants to be in, Dryad.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to come back out of this one, but it's still possible. I just want to see them making those proper engagements, maybe having that connection, that communication going on for them. St. John's University, they seem to have it a little bit clearer, and that's what's making the difference.
Yeah, so far that seems to be the case. We will be going into game pretty quickly here as the internet issues have been resolved, and we're going to be going on to the icy shores of Volskaya. I want to say shores, even though it's not really a beach.
I don't even know. Where's Volskaya? Is it just...
Russia?
Yeah, but is it... What's surrounded by it? I don't even know. Wait.
Icy water, it looks like, and cranes. That's what I'm getting.
Well, interesting. In terms of, Volskaya, I really think this map, but it's just really going to be a matter of Niagara being able to hold this defense, and I had the best hopes for them in the last map on the defense, but it didn't quite work out. Now they're going to push forward, and this is a very interesting defense, very, very risky. They don't want to get taken down early on, especially when you have heroes that put so much pressure, like that Roadhog already from St. John's University. Oh.
Yeah, that's going to be the first kill opening up for St. John's. Niagara losing their Zarya early on. Not a spot any team wants to be in. Velvet Demise as well getting taken down. Things look like they have been cracked wide open for St. John's. Rich taking a little bit of pressure, but probably not enough to put any real threat in here. I think Bizarre cleaning up on point with Koala.
Yeah, Bizarre with the 3K, and that is going to guarantee. It seems like St. John's University will be able to take control of that first point. Then Niagara University, they just have to get ready for that second. We see a few changes now. We're going to be seeing Soldier coming through from Redbeard, and now a lot of time remaining, 6 minutes.
6 minutes for St. John's to make some sort of progress. Ideally, get the full second point cap, and with that, gonna be taken down. A great opening for St. John's. McCree barely missing the wall, gonna be surviving for the time being, and Bizarre getting burned down along with Mr. Koala Man. Suddenly, it looks like Niagara might have an opportunity here, but the Mercy allowed to get a free res on the Bizarre. That might come back to bite him.
A little bit of a risky res, but being able to get away with it, and this is a good initiation. St. John's University, they will be using that whole hog. The filler skills already coming through, and Niagara, they're just trying to stay on point, but it might be too late.
It certainly seems to be the case. Bizarre going to be ulting right inside that room where the Soldier lies. Going to be getting Aristalia with the clip of the uppercut, and with this, it looks like we're going to be seeing a 5-minute second point time bank for St. John's.
5 minutes, 14 seconds, St. John's University. They just had to use the ultimates, and that was more than enough. Niagara, they made a few changes for second point, but because of that, they weren't able to build that ultimate economy. The Visor would have been very beneficial if they decided to go to pick Soldier from the beginning. Unfortunately, not really the case for them, and now they have a really hard task, which is going to be now playing and trying to get more time, and knowing how aggressive St. John's is and how effective it has been is not going to be easy.
With the way they've been playing lately, St. John's, I think you're lucky if you're Niagara to get both points on the board. Not lucky, but you are definitely showing you're having a good show of it if you can get both points on the board. St. John's has just been looking too oppressive to really put that mark too high on matching their time bank. Niagara just needs to look at setting themselves a good bar and just perhaps, making it to the next set of attack phases.
Yeah, making it to a third and fourth round ideally, but like we said, it is not going to be easy. Niagara, they just got taken down immediately when they started on the defense. They have the opportunity to do the same on the attacking side, and now we just have to wait for the doors to open to guarantee what heroes they're going to be playing for this. Is Aristalia decides to stay in the Genji. I do like seeing this, but no Ana. No, we're not going to be seeing that Nano Blade. That's such a big condition for any team.
Interestingly enough, no Ana. But as we do look ahead, Rich not going to be on the Widowmaker. That long-range hit scan going to be unavailable for St. John's instead. It will be going to be the Tracer instead. And Mr. Koalaman actually getting booped off by Velvet Demise might be a great opening here if Niagara's going to be able to capitalize upon it. Aristalia kind of trying to take a duel with the Tracer here, getting finished off by the melee. And all of a sudden, things looking a little bit more equalized.
Aristalia already getting taken down. This is not really good indication for Niagara University. They have to regroup with St. John's University. All they have to do is get those kills going on for them over and over again, and that's exactly what is going on in the meantime. Everyone tried to stay alive, but they have to push the choke point before.
And already we're starting to see the reinforcements come up through from St. John's, which Koalaman already barreling through the opposition. And DC224 getting taken down. It just seems like Niagara couldn't maintain that momentum that they had. And now ITG going to be looking to tear it apart.
That Doofus was going so low, but still managing to stay alive. Really good support that the Anna and the Mercy are doing from the side of St. John's University. And in the meantime, Niagara, they just have to go again. It seems like they keep dying, coming back, and they never get to attack all 6 of them. So if they're able to have that target focus going into one of the supports, maybe the Anna all the way in the back, maybe even if they want to go for a stun and a kill into the Wrecking Ball, then that's the way they can push in.
It is fascinating to see Lucio with the first and only ultimate on the board with that sound barrier online. We see the pile driver come in. ITG takes down Velvet Demise. Sound barrier not even an option at this rate.
Yeah, it's not going to be possible. And even that sound barrier, it seems like it's going to be used more aggressively for the next fight rather than just trying to stay alive. St. John's University, they still keep the momentum. They're pushing forward. And Mr. Koalaman, they're not giving them any space.
No reprieve, no rest for the Wicked, and Niagara's looking a little bit evil right now. Aristalia gets taken down. The Mercy actually getting the nano boost for a minute, Liam, but a little bit faith in their fellow support.
There's still a lot of time still for Niagara University to really figure out their best way in. It's 1 minute 45 seconds, but St. John's University, we see them trying to play more aggressive, trying to hold this really close. The ultimate economy also going to benefit them. Those are not really connecting.
And an early sound barrier before Niagara can really make firm contact. That's going to mean that most of the sound barrier wears off, make everybody right for the picking when it comes to those mines. Mr. Koalaman dropping them right in the middle. Sheridan's going to eventually be following the Coalescence coming online to try to keep anybody from Niagara on the cuff of life, as we see Bizarre trying to get some repositioning there with the Meteor Strikes. Not really going to need it though, with St. John's already cleaned up their opponents.
And those 2 minutes are now down to a single minute. For the attackers to try to do something, to try to take control of the first point. It's not going to be an easy task. And in the meantime, Doofus just vibing.
Yeah, just vibing, just chilling, just hanging out, shirtless in the cold Volskaya weather. As we can see, St. John's University finally going to be pulling back from the spawn of Niagara.
Yeah, I really want to see the engagement here. Niagara University, they do have the Graviton, but wait.
Oh no, and a big sleep dart comes in, claims the life of 2. You hate to see it, Ryan.
Oh, that's just going to be the cleanup. It seems like everyone is going to get taken down. The Moira trying to stay alive uses Fade, and now just a matter of taking down the supporters, not allowing anyone to take this to overtime. St. John's University, they might get the 3-0 now.
Yeah, certainly an opportunity for one last push from Niagara, but with the Lucio gone, with the Winston still coming back, it's going to have to be a very staggered push. The Diva might not be able to make it. In fact, ITG will be regrouping with their team. Now, as we look ahead, looks like St. John's going to give him the opportunity to get on the point. Redbeard throws an attack visor, but gets responded to by ITG's Matrix, mitigating all that damage. Rich getting taken down early on was a great opportunity, but they just cannot follow through with it. Niagara hemorrhaging players.
They do get that 32%, but it doesn't seem like they're going to get more at St. John's University. They're just getting those final kills coming through. Tap the Shark also to guarantee that no one else is able to get close to point. And with that, a very quick 3-0 for St. John's University.
Yeah, St. John's will be taking the victory here over their opponents in Niagara. A well-fought battle, but unfortunately one that St. John's was just a little too strong for Niagara as we look at this play of the game. Mr. Koalaman dropping the mines, dropping the pile driver. That's cleanup surely going to come from St. John's.
Yeah, it was a really good job from St. John's. They were always taking control of the fights. They were always having the ultimate economy. And Niagara, they just were never really able to catch up just because of how aggressive the kills kept coming through from St. John's.
Certainly, and with that, St. John's going to be taking it at a nice, clean 3-0 over their opponents in Niagara. However, folks, we're not quite done with these teams just yet, or more specifically, we're not quite done with St. John's just yet. We're going to be looking to get one of their members in here for a brief interview. So stick around, folks. You're not going to want to miss it. Hello and welcome back, everyone. And hello and welcome to Mr. Koala Man, member of St. John's University, the winning team in tonight's match versus Niagara. Hello and congratulations, Mr. Koala Man.
Thank you. Hello.
And now, of course, we've come to the interview part where we like to ask a few questions. And I want to ask you something that's not so relevant to this game we saw against Niagara, right? It's about last season, or last, I would say, semester compared to this semester. You guys are looking much more dominant this semester so far than we saw in the last semester. I mean, I believe your score line's already looking heads and tails above where it was this time last year. Is there really any kind of secret behind that success for you?
I would say that we've just started to take scrimming and VOD reviewing more seriously. I mean, we picked up ITG, which for off tank, and that really allows Rich to show off a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's helped quite a bit, and the meta has just shifted in our favor right now. I mean, after today's update, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but we're still feeling good. We're still looking good, and we'll find out next week, honestly. With scrims and all.
Yeah. I was actually about to ask you that. What do you think about the changes recently that we had? Is this something that you even brought up to your team of, like, maybe we should try something, maybe we should try if the Reaper works, if the Orisa works, or did you just decide to go with the composition that you prepare, I imagine, in scrims as well?
At first we wanted to see what happened, make sure everything was going well, and if we were talking about it, okay, if we lose the first fight or second fight, maybe we'll switch and they'll put me on Orisa jail, or we'll put our healers on BAP jail, something like that. We'll switch it up and see what happens. But we thought about it and we decided against it initially just to see what really happened, and then we stuck with it because it was working really well. We were getting the picks, we were knocking people out of position, and it just worked out.
Yeah, and you made me curious about something. So you mentioned the off tank kind of helping a little bit of those Rich plays that we saw that were really good. So how does your team enable those DPS for success? Because I thought it was really interesting how Rich was able to get kills over and over again.
Yeah, so we were just making space for him. We were buying as much as we could. On Blizzard World, we rotated all the way around and he stayed main so that he would have a bunch of space just to try and take those different angles on Widowmaker or Echo. He chose Widowmaker in the end, and we took the high ground, forced the BAP off, and then it was just like shooting fish in a barrel, kind of. And besides that, Slurpee is really the best Mercy on the team by far, and she's doing a really good job enabling him to do that little bit of extra damage, so that when he finally beams people and hits those bombs, they do, or the stickies rather, they do a lot more damage, and he can just melt through tanks.
Well, I definitely think that when it came to the games we saw today, the proof was in the pudding. Tanks seemed to work well together with the supports, with the DPS. As a whole, it came down to one nice, fantastic creation. So, Mr. Koala Man, once again, congratulations on your victory over your opponents here today. And before I let you go, because we are about ready to wrap up here, do you want to give you the opportunity to give any shout-outs, whether that's to your team or to anybody in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Niagara. Honestly, it was a lot of fun messing around in the chat. I know that the game before us went on for a very long time, and we were having fun in the chat talking about chicken nuggets and all that stuff. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Peter, whose birthday was yesterday, and Velvet on Niagara, whose birthday it was today.
Oh.
So now they can finally go eat dinner.
Well, a fantastic sportsmanship there. Once again, thank you, Mr. Koala Man. We had a great time having you on here, and I hope you get to celebrate just a little bit of this victory.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you. And with that dry ad, we can see it down below. Niagara versus St. John's wraps up in a nice 3-0, but we are not done yet. Of course, we do have one more match to go. It always feels like just one more, but it's going to be, I believe it's going to be Quinnipiac versus the University of Delaware. So we'll be back with that after this break, folks. So don't miss out. You're going to want to catch it. As the horizon of our day comes towards us, Dryad, it is our last match, Quinnipiac versus the University of Delaware, to cap everything off. Of course, these two teams are going to be looking to give us a big show for the final match today.
Yeah, we definitely had a crazy day so far with the second match. Taking us to 6 maps and the next one being completely, like, pretty much the opposite of it, being a 3-0, very quick 3-0. And now we're just about to see what is going to happen, and this last one is going to be Quinnipiac University against University of Delaware. They also have a similar score, but not as similar, so we'll see.
Now, we'll definitely get a little bit of a feel for exactly how these teams are going to operate. I do believe we didn't see much of Quinnipiac. Oh, no, we did. We did see Quinnipiac last week. It was against Wichita. So Quinnipiac currently at an 0-2 record. It kind of puts them in comparison with their opponents who are a little bit more equalized, I'd say, in their score differential.
Yeah, definitely. So it's sort of even, but not really. I just don't think we have seen enough of them this season, at least to really guarantee what positioning they're going to have on the table compared to all the other teams that we've seen. So, guess we have to wait. Guess we have to find out in this match.
Yeah, what better way to find than with a little bit of field testing, a little bit of field experience going in for these teams. For those of you who didn't quite catch the 3 games prior to this, we will be starting off on Ilios for our control map. Then we'll be moving on to Blizzard World, Volskaya, and we'll get to the rest of the maps as needed. But first, we're going to go into that control point here in just a little bit. And Dryad, what do you think the chances of us finishing starting 4 times on Ruins for each Ilios run?
I feel like it's going to be Ruins. I mean, we saw every single time. I feel like it's just meant to happen, and I'm not complaining. Ruins is my favorite one of all the Ilios maps. So, hey.
Yeah, I mean, the team's definitely not going to be... Oh. It's Ruins! We win! We got it! And I get to call out Mayonnaise on the Widowmaker. Kind of excited about that. Just like the name. But as we look ahead, the team's immediately going to be running towards the center point, looking to really get some of that heavy damage in. Oh, the Mercy just a hair away from Mayonnaise's headshot.
Yeah, it's going to be the Widowmaker trying to get a few kills and also creating the space necessary for the team, but the Wrecking Ball immediately trying to put a little bit more pressure to this Widowmaker, and the first kill going through for the side of Quinnipiac University. Milk getting taken down.
Yeah, Quinnipiac going to be doubling down on this sniper composition. Going to be Grub and Mayonnaise both going for the Hanzo and Widowmaker. Meanwhile, University of Delaware looking to get a little bit more in their face. Looking to get a little bit more close distance with the Wrecking Ball, with the Tracer. As we see Grub continuing to fire those shots and can't really find the damage there. The angle's being played a little bit too steep by Delaware, which will really get too much advantage. And right now, Quinnipiac just looks a little bit disoriented.
Yeah, the first percentage already going for the side of University of Delaware, and they will be having this cleanup going on for them. Really, really good. And it was a fight to take them a little bit to engage, but it benefited them enough just because of that positioning going on for them. Milk, really good performance on this Tracer. We'll be backing up now, and Mayonnaise now no longer on the Widowmaker, but will be the McCree.
We'll see if McCree able to perhaps put the lid on the Tracer as well as the Echo, although it's a lot to ask from one DPS player. Ice going to be very close to that duplicate. See if they can get it locked on, and exactly what they choose to copy might be the Reinhardt. In fact, it looks like it is going to be Ice diving in from on high, throwing in the Fire Strike, has the Earth Shatter on a line, fakes, left goes right, throws in the Earth Shatter, but it's going to be forcing the Transcendence out, and another Earth Shatter.
Yeah, 2 Earth Shatters. Can he get his third one? It's so close, but doesn't really get it. In the meantime, University of Delaware, they're just making this cleanup. The Shatter put enough pressure into the side of Quinnipiac University that there was nothing else they could have done. Milk getting taken down, but that doesn't seem like it's going to affect the team too much, because they are already passing the 80%. Gravity Source is going to be ready, putting it very early before even the Quinnipiac University is able to touch a point. Might be enough for them.
You're definitely looking at one fight territory as that percentage ticks upward of 90%. It's going to be Savix looking to dive in, perhaps slice some mines, but gets slept. That is a very crucial opportunity by the Ana. As we see Delaware holding everybody on a high, not able to touch point too conveniently. As now Mayonnaise takes down a Milk, a good opportunity here. Corey Trevor looking to just close with that grab, but the Transcendence coming alive, making sure that everybody gets kept online from Delaware, including this duplicate who now going to be looking to drop an Earth Shatter. Has to be very careful though as that high noon comes online.
Oh yeah, but already at 99, and another Knifia can make a big difference here. It's going to be hard. The Shatter coming through once again, the duplicate being unstoppable so far. The rank here still trying to stay on the field, but it's going to be the Zarya from the side of University of Delaware getting 2 kills, pushing the Zarya from the enemy all the way back. And with that, University of Delaware 100-0%.
University of Delaware starting to look very strong here, at least in terms of these at least in the terms of this fight on control. Saw the Ruins definitely go their way. Knipiak not getting the opportunity to capitalize.
You know, and not to go off topic here, but I was just noticing all the names that we have on these 2 teams. We have Milk, we have Cookie, we have Broccoli, we have Mayonnaise. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I mean, if grub is literally food. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of food related to things here. I'm definitely feeling it. I'm going to be a little hungry after this cast. I can already tell, but not as hungry as these teams are for the win here on, well, as those gates do open up. University of Delaware looking to run out with that Wrecking Ball, with that Tracer, try to cause a little bit of that backstabbing nature, the quick, fast-acting relief of Tracer's pulse pistols. We'll see exactly what they can get. However, Knipiak going to start off by positioning themselves pretty comfortably onto the point. Winston dives away aggressively.
Oh, Burnout taking down Firewall. This is not going to be easy. Already losing your main tank, completely detrimental for the team. And with that, it seems like Knipiak, they will be playing a little more aggressive. Both teams, they need to get that percentage of the point. But it's those corners what make the difference here.
As we can see, Delaware already taking this possession. This is exactly what they needed. They want to get another strong start here. Ice just waiting to play these corners until Flight is back up. Then going to be throwing into cluster bombs, making Knipiak have to adjust their movements, keep them a little bit on their toes, and make them a little bit edgy as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a downtime in the meantime. While University of Delaware, they just want to get the ultimate economy going on as they already got that initial percentage. Initiation here is going to be coming from the side of Knipiak with that Maywall.
Maywall does come in, blocks a lot of that sight, and Savix gets taken down because of it. However, the question is, will Knipiak be able to get too much done with it? Now we're seeing the duplicate go right on into the Winston. Going to be promoting the Primal Rage from Ice. As May now has to be very careful, doesn't want to get thrown into the well. And it's going to be this Ice Form that allows the Winston to... Oh no, Firewolf getting thrown into the well instead. And now it will be that Primal Rage that does buy them a little bit of time, and the fight win.
Yeah, the Lucy's still trying to stay alive, trying to run away, but it's not going to be possible when Ice is on the field with the sticky bombs as well. University of Delaware, in the meantime, feeling really comfortable with the ultimate economy still. Even if they use a pulse bomb, even if they use a duplicate, that didn't really affect them enough. And now, Knipiak University, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to threaten with the comfortability that University of Delaware has.
We see Savix ready to line up for some early damage with a pile driver, maybe with a quick throw of themselves through the majority of the team. We are seeing a response come in from the Transcendence, so Delaware might be wanting that one back a little bit later, or if they can just get the kills the good old-fashioned way. Burnout not going to be able to be saved by the Transcendence, however, as Firewolf continues to chase, continues to get aggressive here, and Milk taking a little bit of an icicle there to the gut. It's going to be putting them in the dirt. Now Knipiak starting to get some progress. This is good for them.
Yeah, finally a little bit more control that Knipiak is able to get, but 90% for University of Delaware, that means that Knipiak, they can't let the point go at any circumstance. Under any circumstance, Mayonnaise does have the Blizzard, so I really want to see that initiation coming through with this team.
We'll see if that initiation will come to fruition. Knipiak still has quite a few ultimates in their pocket. They have the high noon, but it's going to be zoned out by Savix on that Wrecking Ball, throwing in those mines. Milk taking advantage of Grub's stability there. And the nice self-barrier coming in from the Zarya. Corey Trevor able to keep themselves alive through a pulse bomb, able to build up a nice chunk of charge as well. And the question is, how long can Knipiak hold?
that momentum that Canipia was able to get. It seems like they were losing it. They need to stay in the field, but they're getting taken down one by one. And also University of Delaware, they have the space, the Blizzard coming through, but it's not really going to connect.
And Ice takes down the 2 remaining members that were at the forefront of the most. With this, the duplicate comes through, ready to hold down anybody with that primal rage. Overtime's going to burn down, and just like that, goes in favor of Delaware.
And yet another very quick Ilias that we saw. A little bit more even though, but it just wasn't quite enough for what Canipia had planned. The composition that they were playing, it wasn't really detrimental, but it was just that first engagements that didn't really work out for this team. So Canipia, I don't want to see them coming through playing more aggressive for the next maps if they want to take us to a 1-1.
And it's definitely going to be ball in their court to try to change up the tempo of these fights, to try to change things in their favor. Still remains to be seen if they can match the level of play that we've seen coming out from University of Delaware. Quinnipiac had a couple high moments where they got to capture point, where they didn't get completely run over by Delaware, but that does not mean it's going to be an easy fight for them nonetheless.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. So now, Quinnipiac University, they have the opportunities, they have the tools to make the comeback, but it's not as easy as just changing your composition. It's a matter of that communication and what ultimates you're going to use next. They were able to take control of the point for just a little bit, but they just didn't have the rotation happen fast enough to keep control of the point until the end. So University of Delaware taking us 1-0 next map. We know it's going to be Blizzard World.
Yes, we do know it is going to be Blizzard World, and Quinnipiac, again, in that very unenviable spot of having to change their gameplay up, right? If you roll out on something you're most comfortable with and it doesn't work, you have to choose. Do you stick with it? Do you switch off of it to something you might not be as comfortable, but it's more counter potential against your opponents? It's a big question we always ask, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. Blizzard World, we've seen all sort of scenarios on this map already. We saw a really fast capture. We saw a full hold happen for both teams. We've seen every possible scenario in this map, so I'm excited to see what is going to happen on the scenario with Quinnipiac and University of Delaware.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Quinnipiac has an opportunity here. It's going to be difficult, but not impossible. Certainly nothing out of the realm of possibility, especially since we did see some of those bright spots coming through here. I'm getting word that we do have a few replays on hand, and this is going to be the double Earth Shatter coming in from Ice.
Yeah, really good job as well. It's not very often that we see and that Transcendence really trying to keep everyone alive, but being able to get so much value out of duplicates at this point is not as easy, and you have to make the decision. Ideally, I love seeing the duplicates turning into tanks because of this.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to have such a high health pool and the ability to build up an ultimate so quickly, because most tanks can do, some sort of group damage. It's so efficient.
Yeah, and we've seen some very interesting plays where the Echo decides to duplicate into one of the DPS, which is very understandable. It might be the heroes that they understand the most as their DPS players. But when you're able to really duplicate and get a lot of value out of the Reinhardt, out of Winston, out of D.Va even, those are the biggest highlights that we can see, because you're already creating more than enough space for your team, and you're pushing the other team as kind of figure out the best way to stay alive, and there's so many things going on in the field that is why it worked out so well for University of Delaware.
Yeah, Echo definitely one of those sometimes very situationally based characters. You have to know, which piece can I copy that will be the best fit for my team or the best weakness for the opposing team. Can I bait out an Earth Shatter, or can I get a Reinhardt to drop his shield so I can drop an Earth Shatter? Do I need to go for something like a Primal Rage? Can I get a Mei Blizzard online if I duplicate into a Mei, or a Zarya Grab if I go into that? A lot of questions to ask there that really kind of grind the gears of some Echo players.
Yeah, especially I think they get the most value out of duplicating into one of the main tanks. I think for Zarya is a little bit risky, because when we see those duplicates coming through, you're already in a very risky position. And when you use the grab and search, maybe you won't be able to get enough value to get the kill. So yeah, you put them all together, but then you need the support for your team. And if you're in a different positioning, it might be more difficult. But when you duplicate into Winston, into a Reinhardt, you're able to create the space and put enough damage yourself. So that's why we love seeing Echo. But, as we get into Blizzard World, we might or might not be seeing this hero again.
Well, we'll certainly find out. However, we do have a little bit more of a read on Knipiak's composition here. They're going to be running the Rhine Sigma. A little bit of double shield action going there. Very mobile shields.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen, I think, every single variation of double shields tonight. We saw the Risa and the Reinhardt. We've seen the Sigma as well, being a combination of all of these. But for now, for the set of Knipia, we never say it will be the Reinhardt, will be the Sigma. The up angle is going to be really important to enable, and Mayonnaise also on the Sombra. Definitely a big condition that EMP, as we always mention.
We'll see if Mayonnaise can perhaps get the hack onto the opposing team, find their crucial members, or just get taken down by Burnout, and a fair choice as well. Now with University of Delaware member up, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Knipiak to hold here. You already see them looking to lean on the back foot just a little bit. The Firewolf looks to be bringing it back, while Corey Trevor doesn't seem to quite get the memo, and because this University of Delaware continues to feed on a few of the members.
On University of Delaware, they're just pushing forward. They already got that 33%. They're looking to get even more. Good sleep, though, in the meantime. Trying to get a little bit more of that momentum. And even if we can see a reconsist coming from the side of Knipia, it's not going to be effective. They decide to go back.
And will have to regroup, get themselves recollected. And that's actually what I like to see here in these situations, Dryad. I don't want to see teams stagger themselves just for a few seconds. I want to see full team fights.
And in the meantime, it's going to be a fight to get the high ground. It's going to be a little bit more aggressive coming through for the side of Knipia. Really good initiation in the meantime, but the payload, it has to keep moving for them to get any value out of it. That pulse bomb, it's about to be ready for Milk, trying to connect it into Ana. Ideally, really, really big opportunity for Knipia to stop this.
We see the Wrecking Ball and Zarya working really well here. Bordy keeps throwing on those projected barriers onto Savix. Corey Trevor just not able to keep up with the kinetic grasp, of course. Not doing too much to help against the Zarya laser. Mercy getting pile driven and Zarya beamed. Once again, the combination between these tanks is very dominant.
University of Delaware, they win the fight, and they also win the position that they needed so bad. Now, even if we see the Sombra on the field, they're not going to get any value here. They're just trying to get that EMP for the last fight of second point, but getting taken down, not a good sign here.
Now, Mayonnaise is going to be so close to that EMP, but it's already going to be pretty much given up second point for it. Let's see if they can manage to make something turn around here. They do have a high noon and a nano boost. Perhaps try to combo something with it as we see the duplicate come online from Ice. Looks like they might be going for a Gravitic Flux. Grub taking down Milk early on, so a very good opportunity.
A lot of ultimates are coming through, and in the meantime, it's going to be the duplicate getting 2 kills. University of Delaware, they are definitely taking the advantage here. They have that momentum going. They will be getting this corner as well. They're able to keep pushing forward. Knipia, they tried using so many ultimates, but Mayonnaise doesn't seem like the Sombra is working out.
Certainly does not. Mayonnaise not quite able to get enough with that EMP as you'd like. Certainly need to make that fight go your way, especially if you're taking this along, or at least get some picks, which Mayonnaise was certainly close to doing, but just didn't quite have the final oomph there with so much healing from Delaware. Now, seeing this fight go underway, and Savix so close to building up a minefield. We'll see if they choose to use it into this fight or save it for the last play.
Up with this Wrecking Ball, has the momentum going, that minefield going all the way in the back, doesn't really get any kills so far, but now forced to go all the way back to the team. The payload hasn't stopped.
Certainly has not. That payload. It keeps moving, keeps on trucking, and Mayonnaise once again going for these isolated targets, trying to find the kills, but just cannot make it connect. It's gonna be Milk taking themselves out with the pulse mine, but also taking down Grub, so they're not gonna mind the trade that much.
University of Delaware, they have this momentum and they don't want to let it stop. 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. The payload is about to get there, and with 4-8, University of Delaware in a really effective attack. Don't let Knipia University take any sort of control.
Yeah, control is exactly what Knipiak needed there. I'm not so sold on that Sombra. The level of communication and focus that's required from that character might just be a little bit more than Delaware will let Knipiak get away with. So I would like to see a swap from it, but either way, if Knipiak's the most comfortable with it, they have to weigh that option once again.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not the biggest fan of seeing that Sombra, but I just want to see what the second option is going to be for Mayonnaise to play. Is it going to be more of a mobile here? Is it going to be maybe a Tracer with an Echo? Is it going to be maybe a McCree? There are so many possibilities. It might be an Echo, it seems like, but once again, it's just University of Delaware now. They're going to be on the defense, and when they have this momentum going, when they had such an effective attack, they can just keep it going for the defense. So it's a matter of Quinnipiac really breaking the synergy that Delaware has.
And that's going to be tough. It seems like Delaware running like a pretty well-oiled machine. And speaking of well-oiled machines, Milk taking a little bit of a ride there on that roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said this before, but this is my favorite attraction. So I understand Milk enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, no need to position yourself when you're just enjoying the ride here. Yep,
Sure.
there you go.
I'm sure I've said it before, but my favorite attraction is the Snack Shack. So as
Yeah.
we look ahead, a little bit of munching going on here, but Quinnipiac going to be looking to roll ahead, try to get aggressive. They're going to be going through the souvenir stand, trying to not expose themselves through that main corridor. I can't say I blame them. It's going to make it very hard against the spam of ice.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of poke damage coming through, especially with the composition the University of Delaware has, where they are going to be disrupting the backline over and over again. Is going to be the Tracer, that Wrecking Ball like we're seeing right now, and the Echo as well on the air.
We're still seeing excellent coordination come between Savix and Bordy with the nice projected barrier. But Grub taking down Milk once again. I've said it before, I don't want to curse this here, but this might be the opening that Quinnipiac needs. It's going to be equalized a little bit when Ice takes down Mayonnaise, and with the res coming, might be all but negated.
And now it's just about the initiation that Quinnipiac University can take here. They're doing a really good opportunity here, but Cookie getting taken down.
Ooh.
No support. Ice getting the Mercy, getting the Anna. And it seems like that might be enough to keep holding.
Certainly it might be. Delaware continues to push their advantage, or at least their perceived advantage as Firewall. Now on the back foot, just trying to get out, deal some sort of damage, but eventually cut down by their counterpart in Bordy.
So quite a lot of time for the side of Quinnipiac University to really define how they want to attack now. The Nano is going to be ready, ideally going into the Reinhardt, big condition that can guarantee the win for the side of the attackers here. In the meantime, University of Delaware, like I said, they're poking damage. Their composition is meant to be disruptive, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Gonna make a prediction here. We're gonna see Ice go with the duplicate onto the Reinhardt, try to build up another one of those Earth Shatters like we saw on Ruins. We'll see. We do see, in fact, see the duplicate from Ice. Gonna be the High Noon coming out from Grub, perhaps trying to put a little bit of pressure onto that shield. Milk going in with the Pulse Bomb, drops it right onto Mayonnaise. Res not gonna be opted into by Cookie. Instead, just gonna be choosing to hold themselves back. Don't want to take that too aggressive of a res.
Yeah, definitely. They don't want to risk their lives as well and delay the next push that could happen and that can be affected. Quinnipiac University, they're about to have a really good ultimate economy, but the question is how much value they can get out of it when University of Delaware, they also have those support ultimates to initiate. So even though the Valkyrie comes from the side of Cookie, it can also come from Pod on the side of the University of Delaware, and that might just be enough.
We'll see if University of Delaware will manage this hold with relatively few losses. They do have quite a bit of sustain in their pocket with the Transcendence, with the Valkyrie. The Minefield's right on this hallway. It might be a little bit brutal, but the Dynamite from Ash is going to be clearing a lot of that up. Savix taking a few shots, but then just pushing right back onto that Ash. Knocked away with the Coach Gun almost as fast as they came in.
Less than a minute remaining now. Quinnipiac University, they haven't initiated, they haven't used that nano, and it has to happen soon. As they say that, Burnout getting taken down might be what they were waiting for, but Cookie as well.
And it looks like every time Quinnipiac gets a kill, they just don't have the opportunity to hide the body from the Mercy. Savix taken down, no res available this time, but University of Delaware has already done its damage. It's just the McCree on point, trying to hold as the Zarya gets taken down as well.
30 seconds remaining. One last fight territory. Quinnipiac University. They have to use every single ultimate if that's how they're going to take the advantage. University of Delaware, they just used a couple, so now that's the best opportunity that Quinnipiac University will be having. There are no second chances. Then with that first kill, the rest is already used.
As we look, Delaware still has quite a few in their pocket. Burnout going to be holding on to this Transcendence just in case something goes awry. But with Broccoli going down, it's already a great start. Quinnipiac losing too. This is looking like a pretty much done and dusted game map, rather, for the side of Quinnipiac. The Earth Shadow goes in from Tori Trevor. Not much achieved by it as the protected barrier is there from Ice, keeping their team alive. Now it's going to be the grab going online. Ice throwing it in, getting a grab of their own just to help lock down that point even.
A few members trying to stay on point, but it's not quite there. And with that, a full hold happening on Blizzard Warrior, giving the advantage to the University of Delaware, taking us to a 2-0 on this map.
And now Delaware in a very comfy spot, and Knippiak not looking much different than we saw them on that control map. Usually they like to talk about that control map being a little bit different, but the results proving to be quite the same.
Yeah, and there are so many scenarios that can happen, but it was University of Delaware playing so aggressive on the attacking side and really overwhelming. It seems like Quinnipiac University, where they had the right idea, but the delivery wasn't quite there. So this is match point again. Another potential throughout that we might be seeing unless Quinnipiac makes some drastic changes.
I definitely think so. I did like they kind of shied a little bit farther away from that Sombra. We didn't see it as much on that on that attack phase. But either way, it was still not the shot in the arm that they absolutely needed to really get that kind of solidified offense that we just kept seeing slide through their fingers as well. Their attention to Mercy Rises was pretty rough to keep watching.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, but I mean, I'm really glad that we were able to see a few highlights coming through, especially, University of Delaware, the way that they're able to take control. I think it's something that anyone can take note of. That's exactly what we're going to see now.
We certainly will. Milk going to be dropping in from on high, sticking the Ash with the Pulse Bomb, taking down Mayonnaise, and of course Cookie going to be not opting for that Res. And you see now a little bit of Mercy play coming in from Pod, and Bordy just looking to push this advantage as well, not letting anybody get back in the spawn.
It's just University of Delaware. The minute that they were attacking, they had that momentum going. They were getting the kills. And Quinnipiac, they were never really able to catch up. Even when University of Delaware used way too many ultimates, they were still able to recover from this. So instead of Quinnipiac really punishing from this mistake, it was just them, it seems like, once again, being overwhelmed to really figure out what to do. But Quinnipiac, they had some good moments, so I expect them to come back.
Now, if you're on the side of Quinnipiac, you have, it seems, two options here, Dryad. Do you focus on yourself and what you're doing wrong, or where your opponent is particularly exceeding your, standards?
I think they have to play to their strengths. I think that is the way that Quinnipiac can make the comeback, because they don't really seem very comfortable into their play style, and I think that's something that they have to work on more than trying to counter the enemy team, because University of Delaware, they are doing their own thing, and that's why it's working out so well.
It certainly will continue to work for University of Delaware if Quinnipiac cannot make those big changes that we were alluding to earlier. However, we will be taking the opportunity to look towards Volskaya for those changes, and the big question becomes, well, Volskaya can be one of those maps that can really be hard to crack. Sometimes we don't even see that first point getting captured, as is very often the case when you have an assault map where, sometimes that first point's a bit easier for the attackers.
Yeah, but the thing about Volskaya entrances is that it might be very risky for the setup Quinnipiac University when we saw them not performing really well at the point of attacking and properly defending Blizzard Wolves. So it's about the same scenario. It's just an assault map where you have to have, more than anything, a very effective defense. And if you're able to do this, then you can have the momentum on the attacking side. And University of Delaware, they were doing really good at this, but Quinnipiac, like we said, it just never really caught up. So if there's a moment to catch up now, it has to be on this map.
It's going to be hard. You can almost expect the Echo to come back out from Delaware. We've seen some excellent play come through from that DPS character in just the amount of oppression you're able to put through. Whenever you have to go through a small choke point, it leads you to be a little bit more vulnerable to those cluster bombs, to that tri-shot that can come through. And once you're taken down to half health as well, the focusing beam can be such a punishing tool. I think Quinnipiac really needs to keep heads on swivels for that.
There was a point in time where Echo was meta. It was just a necessity. And even though it's not a necessity now for teams, when you have a really good Echo player, it seems like the enemy team, they can't really do anything about it, because you can get so much value out of your ultimate ability. Like we saw those shatters coming through over and over again, or we can even see the sticky bombs putting a lot of pressure into the support line that is just trying to stay alive. And if you don't have maybe a Baptiste with that mortality field, that might put your team in a very risky position to get taken down by only this Echo.
Certainly hard out there for a support player. However, we are ready to see how this tale unfolds as Volskaya is quickly approaching on the horizon here, Dryad. Now, one thing I want to mention here is that, again, Knipiak is down. They need to win this, but given the way they've been performing, they need to prevent Delaware from getting a huge time bank.
Yeah, and the best way to do that is to have a really good defense on first point, more than second point. I think if you're able to consume as much time as possible on that first one, then that's a really good sign and momentum that your team is able to get, even to defend that second point. So Knipiak, especially when they're starting on the defense, they know that that's their winning condition, and even if they're going to play this bro style, they're going to play in this choke point. The most important thing is having those rotations. The minute that University of Delaware plays too aggressive, they have to back up, they have to stay alive.
We will see exactly what happens. It looks like there's not going to be the Wrecking Ball coming out this time around. At least not yet, although I spoke perhaps just a bit too soon as Savix does switch on to the Mobile Ball of Death right out of spawn, and Ice on that Echo as well. Knipiak gonna be responding with Grub on the Ash, already finding some decent success. Milk taken down with a couple body shots. Damage boosted courtesy of a Mercy. However, Pod does have the res available.
Mercies have been such a highlight here in EGF, and the support that they're able to give to their DPS, and this is the scenario where we're able to see the same thing. Now, Knipiak University on the defense, they have to hold it strong. They have to keep getting the Hanami. Like I said, those rotations that keep benefiting them so far, but University of Delaware, simply they're catching up what? Okay, well, yeah, the Wrecking Ball getting taken down, so that means Knipiak able to hold it for a little bit longer, it seems like.
But pressure already being put down by the University of Delaware to try to get this Tracer off the point. Milk just hanging out in the backlines. Mercy going to be going face-to-face with them, and Milk right now causing a lot of distraction, and that can be very brutal for the side of Knipiak.
That first kill coming through. The Wrecking Ball came back for revenge. They now get the first kill. Grub getting taken down. University of Delaware seems like they're pushing forward. Finally, they might be taking this point here.
Oh, and Savix almost getting blocked off by that Mei wall. Not quite able to get locked down by Mayonnaise. That freezing blast. Not quite able to connect enough to slow down to the degree that they needed to. But with that, Delaware is going to be a little bit more hesitant. And once again, the Mei wall comes out, blocks off the Zarya, blocks off the Wrecking Ball, although they're able to navigate it a little bit better.
Yeah, the rotations now trying to stay alive, but the duplicate now once again is going to be a Reinhardt trying to get the shatter as soon as possible. There you go, it doesn't really connect, but Knipiak University, they're doing it.
And a nice drop of Bob and the Nano going on to Bob. Once again, the res coming out onto the Zenyatta. It's going to be University of Delaware managing to get 3 reses. It's going to reduce their spawn time a little bit, especially with Burnout taking down Grub.
University of Delaware, they might be taking this point here. The number advantage finally benefiting their side, and the Reinhardt just trying to stay alive, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough.
Oh, Corey, Trevor trying their best, but eventually will be feasting on a pulse bomb with that. Now we look towards that second point as Burnout takes a body shot. Delaware has quite a few ultimates in their pocket, but Firewolf and Mayonnaise have some to respond.
Yeah, but so far, this has been the best map that we've seen Knipiak University on. They were able to delay that push for as long as possible. They still have 4 minutes for the side of University of Delaware to get the second point, but as long as they're able to hold it for a little bit longer, that might give you the momentum, and Knipiak does exactly what they did. They have the Blizzard net once again, and they're not going to let University of Delaware have that snowball happen.
We see Savix with the minefield ready to throw right onto point, taking down the Ash and the Mercy. That may already be a great start for this team. University of Delaware gets caught in a grab, then hit with an anti-nade, meaning the Transcendence can't really do a whole lot, but Knipiak doesn't have the manpower to really follow up. It's just that Reinhardt trying to stay alive, receiving a lot of healing from Broccoli, but once Broccoli falls, so does Corey Trevor. And with this, some kills need to start going in the favor of the defense.
University of Delaware, they're about to get that 32% that they need so bad, but everyone from Knipiak University trying to come back, trying to touch one. We're going to be seeing a recontest, but I don't think it's going to be effective.
certainly does not seem to be the case as the May falls. That was one of the most stagger-capable characters. Corey Trevor charging on the point, misses it by just a hair, and instead eats a bunch of bullets. It's going to be the Lucio speeding up, waiting for anybody to come out of spawn, but taking their time as Ice comes out of that duplicate form.
It's just the nature of this assault maps, where even if the defenders, they have a spawn advantage, it's just a matter of how they got taken down. If they got taken down one by one, that means that their respawns are not going to be timed in the best way possible, and that's exactly what happened. Kinipia, they were able to come back, but one by one, taken down. University of Delaware, they get this 2 points, 3 minutes, 11 seconds remaining. Kinipia now, they will be attacking, and that's a real challenge for them.
It certainly will be. On the plus side, though, this is not the most time we've seen in the time bank today for second point captures. So Knipiak still has a little bit of light there shining at the end of their tunnel, although it may be very, very dim.
Yeah, no, but it's still definitely possible. And like I said, this is the best map so far that he's seen from Knipia. They were able to win a couple fights in a row, and we didn't see this happen in any other map. So University of Delaware, I'm sure they realize this. So the big question is, how strong is their defense going to be?
One thing I have to really praise Knipiak for here is that they're really trying to use those May walls to manipulate the terrain against University of Delaware. It didn't quite work out, but we definitely saw some improvement coming from there in just the terms of the team response. I think that they're so far looking on a pretty good road. The question is, can they improve fast enough to start getting some wins?
Yeah, that's a real question. They are trying to get this first win, and ideally, it's not too late for them. Knipia University, they have to have this proper engagement. The Doomfist from the side of Mayonnaise, very interesting pick here. All the winning conditions is going to be staying alive and also getting the support from the rest of the team.
We've certainly seen the Doomfist work before tonight, but the question is, can Mayonnaise replicate that success, or will it perhaps be a little bit of a flash in the pan? The McCree holding the flashbang in pocket gets rolled up on literally by Savix. And with this, now we're looking at Knipiak, one member down as they are now stuck in enemy territory.
Oh yeah, this is a very tough spot, but they can definitely take the advantage here. Those rotations, those high ground positions are going to be what matters here. And finally, Knipiak University jumping into point, playing aggressive, but Mayonnaise getting taken down.
Just as one DPS comes back, the other becomes Lost Cookie. It'll be quick to follow as now Knipiak soon to just try to replace their broken teammates, but it will be for naught as they are going to be sending themselves off the map.
The thing is that University of Delaware, they had the right idea there, because they decided to not drop off the high ground. Any team would have immediately dropped just to make sure that Knipia wasn't able to take control of the point, but Delaware was very patient, and it really paid off. The Mayonnaise is going to be in the Genji.
We'll see if Mayonnaise can build up that blade, the most crucial tool perhaps of a Genji's kit. As we do look ahead, not able to build up too much. The Shurikens not quite landing, as well not taking these rotations too much with their tanks, and it's kind of the weakness we see about Knipiak most of the time, just dashing out over point. Mayonnaise looking a little bit lost here.
Yeah, just trying to wait for the engagement of the team, but it's going to be Bob in the back line that is going to make it a little bit harder for that proper engagement. Firewolf already getting taken down in Knipia University. Seems like this is not going to be the push.
And Grub does manage to get the kill on the Savix. It's going to build them up a bit of ult charge and taking down Ice, but with the Mercy res, there's not much they can do about it.
Grub gets 2, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough, as the rest of the team was already taken down, and he also gets taken down at the end. It's going to be a reset as well. It seems like it's happening for Knipia University. 1 minute 32 fights that could happen. University of Delaware on a really good defending position. They have the ultimate economy. They can initiate. Well, the Valkyrie. What is Knipia going to do? The Genji doesn't even have the ultimate yet.
He's not even halfway to that ultimate. That is a long investment for a Genji, whose blade you're hoping works out. However, if you're an optimist here, Knipiak going to be having that sound barrier, having the coalescence, and the high noon to work with. So they have a little bit of money to play with, but Delaware is certainly going to be looking to be a little bit more comfortable.
Only a minute remaining now, so Knipia University, can they take control of the point? They have to initiate what they call lessons as soon as possible, but it's going to be hard when Ice is taking out Firewolf first again.
I suppose Ice is a little bit more dominant than Fire in this situation, as now we look ahead. Knipia trying to take this opposing high ground. Savix gets caught out but pushed off by a Reinhardt swing. Delaware now looking to continue maintaining just that poke distance from long range. Mayonnaise taking down Milk gives the opportunity here, especially since that res is not going to be coming through from Pod.
Knipia University, they just have to stay alive. They have one last opportunity, 20 seconds remaining. That coalescence has to be effective. But Grub already getting taken down. This is not a good sign.
Grub does force a little bit of the focus on from the grab Flux. However, it's going to be Savix throwing in these mines here in just a moment. On the point, making it that much more dangerous for the attackers to get anywhere close. Mayonnaise cleaned up. The sound barrier coming online to keep the supports alive, but there's only so much you can do. 1/3 has been achieved, but unfortunately for Knipiak, it's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. They were able to get just a little bit, but the momentum just wasn't there. That sound barrier coming through really late and not really enabling this team to win. So with that, University of Delaware taking it 3-0 on this last match of the day.
And as we wrap things up here, we are just going to be tuning in with a little bit of the Wrecking Ball play of the game. Bob helping out there, making sure that everybody stays off point if they're not authorized to be there, and a nice knock off the coalescing Moira.
Yeah, it was a really good job that we saw from University of Delaware. They were always taking the advantage, and Kunipia, I did like the adaptation changes that we saw in Volskaya, but they just couldn't catch up. I think with a little bit more practice of scrims, of water reviews, they can really make the comeback, because it seems like those few mistakes can be easily fixed with just a little bit more of communication.
And perhaps they're going against, a little bit more of a tougher opponent than might be, equal to their caliber. So once they start getting those reps in against those schools that are a little bit more equalized towards them, definitely expect them to start seeing rooms of improvement. Definitely looking forward to seeing it. However, for tonight, that will not be the case. The University of Delaware taking it in a 3-0 fashion.
Yeah, and we saw these last two matches being 3-0, but there was so much action going on today with those 4 matches that we're able to see here on this channel. I think they had some really good highlights, and everything that we saw some really crazy Echo plays, Hansa plays, Reinhardt plays that I think are really important for any team to keep improving. Even if they win, there's so many things that they can correct. So I just am expecting to see a lot of those exciting games in the future.
Yeah, no player is perfect, let alone 6 of them getting together on one team. Always room for that improvement. However, as we look towards the next future, we will be looking towards a brief interview with one member from University of Delaware, folks. So stick around after the break. We'll be here with it. Hello and welcome back, everyone, for our final interview of the night. Before we turn the lights off from the University of Delaware, it's going to be Bordy. Bordy, hello, congratulations, and an impressive 3-0 sweep.
Yep, it was, it sure happened.
Well, that's certainly a very literal way to describe it, and I kind of want to ask what your mindset was going into this game. Were you guys just trying to play your own game, or were you a little bit more focused on what your opponent was running?
Well, I was just wondering when it would end so that I could go and watch this one VTuber stream, Just looked at their ranks, thought I go in 3-0, go out, watch VTuber, but then my team pressured me into doing this interview, so I guess I have to stick around a little longer.
Okay.
Yeah, well, then I only have one question for you. So, did you guys ever consider running another composition, or with the recent changes that Overwatch had, or is it something that you felt comfortable from the beginning?
I mean, we run various compositions depending on the map. Like on Gibraltar, we might run dive, and on other points other maps we might run brawl with Ryan.
Yeah.
But those maps just didn't really come up. So but we've practiced the comp that we did end up running a lot, so we were comfortable on it.
Well, that's just the way it goes sometimes, but Bordy, we won't keep you from your VTubers for too long. So once again, thank you for hopping in here. And before we do let you go, we want to give you the opportunity to shout out anybody.
Shout out to Stickman.
All right. Well, Stickman, if you're listening, watching, whatever have you, Bordy, giving you the thumbs up there, Bordy. Once again, thank you and congratulations on your victory here today.
Yeah.
And with that, Dryad, we are just about ready to conclude our broadcast day. It has been a long one. At least it feels like it has. It always does whenever we have a 6-game match, even if we have O's and 3s throughout the rest of it. But overall, had a great time casting.
Yeah, definitely. We had a lot of things going on, and I'm really happy that we're able to witness another 6 map happening. I didn't think it was gonna happen again, but here we are.
Here we are, indeed. It always seems to happen with us, but folks, this could be a regular occurrence. You'll never know unless you tune in. So this time next week, a little bit before this time next week, if you want to catch more collegiate Overwatch action, tune into this channel at EGF. We'll greatly appreciate having you here. And if you tuned in today, we greatly appreciate you having you here now. And with that, we will say farewell. You can check us out at our Twitters below. But from everybody here from EGF, thank you and stay safe, everybody.